safe. Like, I really don't care. Like,
well, that's what submission is. That's what submission is that you.
Down that I think everybody is at some point deserving to receive love and to be even into marriage if they do aspire for marriage.
I believe that society shapes how we view things and how we look at things in our life.
Make your own bed. That's basically what Kevin Samuels is saying. His delivery is what people kind of throws people off. But basically,
aggressive or like violent, like where I think toxic masculinity is
no offense to men, that they also get this idea that, you know, women are just going to take care of them and everything is going to be like easy.
A domestic violence shelter, and he brought her up to be, you know, a $25,000.
Hell yeah, you need to judge in dating. It is what it is. You know, you can't not judge people just because you feel bad about it. Like, you need to know.
As much as I love my daughter, there are some harsh realities and some things that her mother and I teach her in order to help her to understand.
Like, I'm sure everyone knows a woman that, you know, had sex for a date. All the
Still muted. What's going on? Welcome back to CKQ Podcast. I'm your host, Clement. And do me a favor and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. My panelist will probably show up at some point. But today I actually want to touch on a topic that I've been thinking about for quite some time now, which is just a lot of talk on these YouTube spaces, you know, get the money, get the bag. And be big, be above average, go as big as you can, go crazy. And I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes just trying to be that hard, trying to go that hard at life is exhausting. And a lot of times all you hear is you just gotta keep pushing through, you gotta battle through it, you just gotta punch through it. And no joke, no cap, like that becomes exhausting after a while. And I don't know, sometimes I don't really think chasing all the money is really worth it, in my opinion. Like, as I've gotten older, the closer I get to 30, I was actually having a conversation about this to a friend of mine. The closer I've gotten to 30, the more I've realized, like, okay, all I've ever done was push myself to try to gain as much money as I can. And it's just never really, I don't really feel like I've gained anything out of it besides I've pushed myself. I've skipped my birthdays, I've skipped time with family, and all I've ever really gotten out of it was, you know, I've built a good reputation with a company. And to me, I don't know if that's really just seeming to, hey Danielle.
Nothing much. What's going on with you?
Not much. Talking about being average, and that's the dream, you know?
I've been listening.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you think? In my opinion, the whole idea behind right now, you have to grow big and get big, and that's really what's taking over the YouTube space, at least the Black YouTube space. That's all that I hear now. Every space is like, if you're a man, you gotta be trying to be a high value man. You gotta try to be a 6-figure man. You know, you gotta be working 60 hours a week. And to me, I'm just like, yo, that doesn't sound remotely like entertaining at all. But what do you think about that?
Is life supposed to be entertaining?
What? Yeah, in my opinion, why wouldn't it be? Like,
that's not real.
Is it not? So we're essentially saying that you have to keep grinding and pushing until eventually at the end of your life you get to enjoy it.
No,
like when do you get to actually enjoy life?
Pushing until you get to where you are comfortable.
But what if that comfort is just in the regular day of life? What if my regular life is just what I'm okay with?
Then
You get
that's
what I'm
where you're
saying?
comfortable at. If where you at in life is comfortable for you and you can maintain a life that you okay with, then that's fine. If you're gonna want a woman, hopefully it's enough to maintain her and whatever kids might come along.
And I think that's also where it becomes like a fork in the road, I guess. Where it's like, okay, if you want a woman, you can't be satisfied with just being okay with your life. Like,
You can be satisfied with being okay, but you got to find a woman that costs that much.
can you explain it a little further?
You can't make beer money and want to date a woman who likes champagne.
Well said. What's up, Chris?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Still working?
Hi.
Hi. Actually,
Still working?
Oh, sorry. Just for like 30 minutes, and then I'll pop on with my
Yeah,
camera.
no, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, we're pretty much speaking on being average and how that is not really that can't really be the norm anymore.
I don't think that being average can't be the norm because that's what the average is.
Mm-hmm.
So there will always be average people. And if that's where you're happy, and like I said, find a mate that is comfortable in that space with you. Not every woman want designer bags and to be going out to eat every night, you know?
Stop the cap.
I want to do a quick reaction on something, and I want to get your thoughts on it. And his name's Thinking Man Podcast. This is going to be Corey speaking. There you go. Fair use, fair use.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh no.
But that's just the thing though. Success always costs more than what we're willing to pay at times, right? And I think that's why it's important to define your own level of success and be okay with what you define as success.
Yeah.
Because what somebody else have, I had people come up to me and tell me, man, I'm trying to get like you. I'm trying to be in the position you in. And I always tell them, you don't want to go through the hell I've been through to get to where I'm at. You don't want to pay that price. I promise you don't want to pay that price. But for me, if I'm constantly looking at the ETs and the Inky Johnsons and the Les Browns and the Lisa Nichols and Tony Robbins, and I'm hearing them say, you can't sleep or you don't need to sleep. You need to grind. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I get up at 2 o'clock. I'm up from 6 a.m. to 6, p.m. the next day. And I'm like, okay, if that's what it takes to be successful the way they are, then I'm going to try that. But that doesn't work for my body. You see what I'm saying? And I want success, but not at the expense of me losing my family, not at the expense of me losing my mind, not at the expense of me breaking down, dying potentially because I'm not taking proper care of myself and getting the things that I need. Like success is dope, but it ain't dope enough for me to have to, lose my life and I couldn't enjoy it anyways. So I think we got to reprogram our minds, focus on what it is that we need to live, because I think a lot of times we we hyper focus on, I need to make this certain amount of money for what? What do you? Hold on, hold on. I'm gonna say this, and don't get me wrong. I need money. I love money, right? But I'm starting to realize, man, people put you on a goose hunt, a goose chase for money, and it's like, am I enjoying life, or I'm gonna spend my entire life chasing dollars?
Thoughts?
I'm going to enjoy life when I can. That's not going to be my main focus, though.
But can I ask you something? Have you always had this kind of drive to want more?
Nope.
No? That has something to do with something you have to build over time, or?
No, I just had a baby.
Okay.
And so my drive ain't for me, it's for my kids. My drive ain't for the life that I want because I don't really need much. I don't like going out to restaurants. If I'm off work for 3 days, if I got food in my house, my car won't move. So, I don't really need much, but I want my children to have every opportunity. And those opportunities cost money.
I guess I've always heard that's why they say like kids are kind of what makes a man mature, or what should.
I have no idea what make a man mature.
I think definitely finding out what they want or where they would like to go, but not knowing that and being told to chase money just means you're just gonna be working in an endlessly in a direction that you're not too sure where it's going. Not too sure even if you want to be on that train going in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
But
that would be crazy to be moving if you don't know where you're going anyway.
Well, you're moving in a direction. At least for me, I always thought like if you were moving in a direction, that's better than being in one spot.
Depends on the direction.
As I've gotten closer to 30, I'm realizing, hell, you could have been going in the complete opposite direction of where you'd actually want to go. It probably would have been better to just sit your ass down and think about it for a little bit. You know?
Yeah, that's my sense. That's crazy to be moving when you don't even know where you're going.
Yeah,
I would need to know what it is I want to do. What being a nurse is something I've always been working on. It just didn't actualize till after I had a kid. I was okay being a nomad. I really was.
Yeah, listen, I would say now more than ever, I'm like, damn, like I kind of wish I could just live my life that way.
You don't have no kids, you could.
And I guess that's true.
If you want to, now is the time, because once you get them kids, if you want to be a good dad, like that's over. That's a wrap.
Chris, what do you
Anything
think?
you want to do, please get it out the way.
I thought what you said was interesting in the video. I think I agree for the most part. I think on the other side of it, so if in the world of femininity on YouTube, there's so many different levels to it. There are what they call trad wives, so just like wives that just want to live a more traditional lifestyle and be home, but they're willing to, sacrifice certain material things to be able to be home so their husbands can afford it, afford their life, their new lifestyles.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are like the luxury women who are trying to, find well-off men that not only can provide for them, but provide these luxurious lifestyles.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there's an expectation that that's kind of the path that every woman wants to take. That's the assumption that's made. But that path is hard and it takes so much work, so much investment, from maintaining your skin to satin sheets and how expensive those are. And, the workout classes you have to take, the networks you have to build. There are women who are, they're getting memberships to country clubs just so they can meet rich men. It's an investment and it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of money. And a lot of people aren't willing to put in that much effort, and they also just don't want to. And I think that if you don't want to, doesn't mean that you're average. I think that sometimes a lateral move that opens more opportunities for you is just as good as a vertical move. It just depends on the person. Like for example, if you work in a trade and maybe you're working for a company right now that pays you $40,000, but you make a lateral move, you're still working that same trade, you still make $40,000. So if you own the company now, that's a big accomplishment. So no, you're not making more money necessarily, but that's a huge change for your family. And you just open up so many more opportunities in terms of generational wealth and so many other things. So I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. And I think that we define average so strictly, but there really aren't that many limitations to what makes someone above average.
What's average to you guys?
That's not something I've ever defined.
Yeah, because it's thrown so loosely around now. I mean, these like high value man, submissive woman, beta male, alpha male, average man, modern woman, modern man. Like all these are suddenly terms that are kind of like thrown left and right. And I'm just thinking like, what the hell is an average man? Like, what would the average man be? What's
The only
average?
thing I've heard about an average is like pay, and that's like that you're making 40,000. That's what the average man makes. I believe is what they said. They
That's all
never
he's ever
really gave any type of other description for average man, but
besides
pay.
his money.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Not that I ever heard.
Yeah, same. And that's not even how I would necessarily define it. That's just all I hear.
Right.
It's like I have no definition, just so I know what other people are talking about. But from my perspective, and also from like a biological stance, that definition really doesn't make that much sense in terms of like defining like a really productive and providing male. It doesn't really make that much sense.
So
average
then
male is
you're
5'9".
that would be technically below average.
I just saw a post that said the average man is 5'9".
I thought it was 5'10".
I don't know. I just know what the post said. I really have no clue. I thought that was very sad for it to be 5'9" or 5'10".
I actually thought it was 5'7".
Wow.
No, 5'5" on average.
You're very generous. Most women would not even look in the ballpark of 5'7". That's crazy.
Even women that are like 4'11" wouldn't date a man that's 5'7".
They still want 6 feet tall men.
Yeah,
it makes no sense.
They want to break their neck.
Weird.
Well, at least I gotta thank God for my genetics in this part. Like I won. I'm okay with it.
Hey.
Winning works sometimes. But average. What do you guys think of it? What would you consider an average man? Aside from the regular, he makes 42 grand a year, or an average black man, yeah.
I have no idea. You only got the money to pay your bills. You don't go nowhere or travel anywhere. You don't do nothing outside of work and home and just normal, your neighborhood life, family life.
Watch TV, visit your family every now and then.
Yeah.
Is that not
very, very content young man?
Like, would that not be honestly?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that wouldn't be like a good life though?
If all you guys money to pay your bills, no, that's not a good life.
That's fair. I would think that
the rest of it, I don't mind.
Me personally, I think the average man would at least be okay, like have a 401k at work at least.
Do they?
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't get that to the average man.
Is that not the average man?
Look, why are we trying to make the average man like he is horrible? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I thought the average man would just go to work. He works his 9 to 5. He works his 40 hours a week. He makes possibly 42 to 50,000, 55.
Maybe I don't see him with a 401k because most people don't have retirement money. Yeah, I don't think that's a common thing.
Where are most people working? Like, I thought
it's not that the place that they're working for don't offer it. It's just that it's still not enough to be able to take money out of their check and still maintain their lives. I don't think most people think of, like, when I hear about retirement, most people don't think about retirement until they're close to it.
Jesus. I thought I was pretty, well, I don't know.
So if you're working and you're in your 20s and you got a 401k, you're not average.
Chris, what do you think? What's the average man to you?
Aside of what they say statistically, to me, average is a man that does what other people are doing, just because, not because it's his decision or he feels like it's gonna, push him forward, but just because other people are doing it. Like the only example I can think of is like a man that sags his pants. Like, what's the point? You're doing this, everyone around you's doing it, or a man that plays video games too much, right? Where he's addicted to it. That's what I would kind of define as somebody who is average.
Follower.
Yeah, perfect way to put it. Yeah, a follower.
Okay. So a follower would be an average man. What would be an average woman?
What is an extraordinary woman? I don't know. We don't be defining women, do we?
No, not really. Women could be anything, and it's okay. The man, though, you got to be a high value man. You got to be.
Women can be anything. That's a lot. Ask these women up out here.
Well, listen, they can be anything. I'm not saying that there aren't going to be consequences for them trying to be anything, but they can be anything.
Oh, okay, I see.
I have no idea what an average woman is.
Should we care about a lot of these things?
Yes.
Yeah? Why?
Well, it depends if you're using them to set standards. I think standards are important. I do think that the term average, the way that we're looking at it, is very subjective. But I think that we're doing this because we have a certain standard for whatever mate that we want. So I think it totally makes sense to divide people up, by average, below average, above average, ideal. We do that naturally anyways. And I don't think there's anything wrong with taking what we're doing subconsciously and having a conversation about it.
What do you think, Danielle? I disagree a little bit, but what do you think?
I've never had these conversations till I joined the podcast. I tell you all the time, I have no idea what other people do.
You lived in a bubble.
Man, and like even as a kid, I never looked to what everybody else did to set my standards. And I even tried to pass that on to my sisters. I remember I was helping one of my little sister's sister with the project. And it was done, but it was sloppy. I was like, oh, okay, so you done, but you need to redo that and make it look neater, like more presentable and stuff. She's like, my teacher not gonna care. I said, so what though? Like, that's trash. Like, you want to put your best foot forward. So then my sister, her big sister, was like, you don't got to do all that. Whoop, 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 whoop. And so I stepped back. But I let them know, like, just because that is the standard that teacher has set, that don't mean that that's what you do. Like, you don't follow a standard that someone else has set. You find what you want, and that is what you do, regardless of what everybody else is doing.
Yeah. See, that's more where I'm starting to lean a lot more in my life now, which is trying to measure that marker with everyone else. I find burns you out very quickly because you're constantly trying to measure up for no reason though, but because you want to know where you are, where you fall in rank. It'll give you a bit of a complex in the end of the day because there's always going to be someone above. And the people below are always going to be trying. What's that?
It's never anybody above me.
When you're the only person that you're actually measuring up to, then yeah. But what do you think of that, Chris?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Well, I think the idea that you have to measuring yourself up with everyone else, eventually you lose who it is that you are trying to be, and you fall into like the rat race of trying to keep up with everyone else. What are your thoughts?
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. I think people often miss the self-reflection process. They base it off of everyone else's goals and what everyone else tells them they need to do and how they need to do it. And what other people praise in those people that they're looking at, instead of trying to understand what actually make them feel fulfilled. Most definitely. I think that's one reason why a lot of women pursue careers instead of being open about actually wanting to be at home. Everyone's telling you, you have to do this, you have to make sense, you have to, pursue your career, be successful over here, wait to have children, don't do that. This is what's going to be praised, this is what looks good. And you have a lot of women that don't necessarily want to do that, but they see it happening and they see these women being praised for this. They're being told that's the best option for them. That's what they have to do. That's what looks the best. And then, 15, 20 years goes by and they wish that they had just listened to their gut and had those children or stayed home with those children that they had. So yeah, I think we see that a lot. It leads to regret later on.
Hey, red lipstick. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to lead to a lot of regret following that path. Well, I want to do another quick reaction. This is a guy named Timothy Ward. He's actually a vlogger, a lifestyle vlogger, who he very much champions average living. Very, very interesting outlook he has. So we are going to watch him in a tub. Fair use.
I'm cool with that. Also, too, one of the things with marriage, I think it makes it very final. It's like I just don't like putting like labels and like pressure. If I find somebody to be in my life, wants to spend time with me, I don't ever want to. This is just me personally. I understand the other side of it, but I personally don't want to like for richer, for poorer, till death do us part us. No, if that happens, cool. But if we're together 5 years and then she wants to move on, I want to make it as easy for her as possible. If after 5 years we agree, yeah, this isn't working out, it was fun, but let's go like date other people, cool. I don't want to have any strings attached with the government and laws. Now we've got to get it. Come on. Going into marriage that if it goes wrong, you're going to have to go through a nasty divorce. I don't want that. That just doesn't make sense to me. So as far as marriage, definitely not going to happen on paper. As far as finding someone to be in my life, I kind of take that on a day-to-day basis. You meet someone, you get together, you'll have fun, and that lasts as long as it lasts. If it's a year, cool. If it's 5 years, cool. If it's until we're 80s and we died side by side, cool. I just don't like to put like restrictions on love or be like, oh, this love has to last. Like, I just don't. Y'all know me, I'm not big on labels, I'm not big on rules, and it just seems like marriage is one big rule, one big label. Like, it's so much work. No, I want my life to be as carefree as possible. I don't want anyone to.
Thoughts so far?
You seem like a big lazy motherfucker.
41 years old, never married, no kids.
Yeah, he just seemed like a big, like she said. She said, "Oh no, it's looking like a dusty house." Yeah. He just seemed like he just lazy. He don't want to put forth much effort. And that's fine if that's how you want to live. He ain't got no wife. He ain't had no kids, so he don't have to move when he don't want to. So he set his life up the way he wants. That ain't average. That's lazy.
That's yeah, okay. That's interesting. I considered that average. But a couple of things that he did say was questionable. That's why, again, we're watching it. I want to get a different point of view on that. But Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Danielle. It's yeah, that's a man that I would avoid completely. Completely avoid. You have to have structure as a man. That's the type of mindset that I would expect from a woman, wanting to kind of move freely, do things when you want to do it, but not from a Not from a man.
Talk said this dude gonna decide not to come home from the family one day. He don't even want no family talk to even come home to.
Yeah, he really he wants no connections, no attachments to nothing,
He
and that's
said
where I
no
was like,
strings.
yeah, no strings at all. And that's where I was kind of like, all right, well, that's a bit extreme. You know what I'm saying? Like I would think the average man. I'm honestly I've been having a lot of this kinds of conversations with my coworkers, and I was having a really good one with one pretty recently. He he works with like a sister company of mine. He recently got married. They right now live in a nice little apartment, but they're planning on buying a house pretty soon. I was asking him like, "Yo, do you plan on owning a business of your own?" And he was just like, "Honestly, no. Like, I don't want to own a business. I know I'm not a business owner, but I know I don't want to be stuck in the job role." And I was like, we just kept talking about that a little bit more, and it's like, yeah, like I'd like to gain financial freedom, but more than anything, I realized like all I've been doing was just working and working and working all my life, and like that's he started telling me that his wife, he went home one day because he's in sales, so he has a lot of freedom to move around. He went home one day around 11 a.m. and she was at home just vacuuming their carpet, and he was just like, it's 11 o'clock on a Tuesday. Like, what are you doing right now? And he's like, oh yeah, my company decided to start giving us mental days off. I mean, there's criteria that you have to hit before you can start taking your mental days off. But if you ever start feeling burnt out, they say, okay, get this stuff done, get XYZ done, and then take as much time as you need off. But know that like there's some stipulations to that. But if you need it for your mental health, you do it.
Right.
And now he's starting to try to implement that. Obviously, it's a little weird. And I was telling him because I'm trying to do the same thing for my job. And it's a little weird to sometimes take off after not doing it for so long. You almost feel like you're playing hooky. You're like, oh, well, I should be at work right now. You know what I'm saying? Like I should be awake right now. I should be doing something right now. And to me, that's why I say like, to me, that's what I consider average, which is some days you take off and decide to move some errands around, get some errands done, or get some things done, or maybe just lays around and just catch your breath a little bit. I feel like
Average, you don't got the privilege to do that though.
What do you mean?
Average don't got the privilege to be taking no time off and be laissez-faire.
Average people?
Yeah.
Huh. So average people can't take off?
When I think of an average person, like I said, you only got enough for your bills. The average person that I would think of, like I said, ain't saving for no retirement. You know what I'm saying? So you don't really got your time off is your off days. You don't got no reason to take no other days off, but you got to pay your bills. You hourly. You're not salary.
Goddamn. But going back to that story though. So he's now trying to take a little bit more personal time off, personal days off. And I think it's very much needed. I think if it was implemented in this, what do you guys think of that though? Like if companies actually try to enact mental health days off, could we even afford to do something like that?
Yeah.
Expound.
I think that will make the productivity of your company better. You will feel cared about and appreciated. You wouldn't feel like it was just a job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to feel like somebody care about you, I think you would give more when you go.
You also just have less distractions. If you were able to take some time to do the things that you need to do outside of work, while you're at work, you won't be thinking about the things that you need to do outside of work. Does that make sense? So if you're at work and you're like, I really need to go to the doctor, but I can't take a day off. My doctor's only open Monday through Friday. That's very overwhelming. That's very stressful. But if your office tells you don't have to take PTO to go to the doctor, just go. Just go to the doctor, take 3 hours and come back to work. It's totally fine. It just makes your day a lot less stressful. So yeah, productivity will go up. So the businesses will benefit, and then you'll benefit as well, which is less stress.
That would be good. That would be nice to work in a company that did that. You work in a company that does that?
If I have to go to the doctor, I just go. I did that last week. Put it in my calendar. Out. I'll be back in a couple hours. I texted you. I was like, I'm at the doctor. It was like 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn. It's a nice world. Well,
thinking about being an employee stresses me out.
Really?
Yeah. I done had control of my schedule for the past 5 years. My first year being a nurse, I worked at a facility. After that, I left and I went to agency. I have complete control of my schedule. I couldn't imagine. Like, you have to pay me a lot of money to want to work for you. Like, it's the hospital here who is going to pay $2,000 per shift that you pick up extra.
Jesus.
I would consider taking a job at that facility because $2,000 on top of my hourly pay, that's worth it for you to give me a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But just making $40 an hour, you want to give me a schedule and tax my money? Keep that $40.
Damn. Your time is worth more than that.
Yeah. My mind is worth more than that. Like, I think that's what it is. Like, people be saying that being a nurse is stressful and things like that. And I be thinking, what the hell is y'all stressed for? I think they just stress because they employees. Because setting my own schedule, my mind is set to be there when I go there. I know what type of job I'm going to have to do. So I'm not stressed. I'm agency worker, so I know that the places that I'm going to go work to are short-staffed. So people who do work there are short-tempered. You know, the people who I'm taking care of probably pissy because they got horrible staffing, horrible service. Mm-hmm. So I'm in the correct mindset when I go in because I chose to come to work today. I chose to come to this facility today for this amount of pay.
You know exactly what you're going to be dealing with when you're in there.
So when I go in, I get to go in chipper. How y'all doing? Let me help y'all out. You need some water? You need to go to the bathroom? Oh my God, you just shit the bed. Let me give you a shower. Like, literally, that's how it go. And you just keep it moving. Just have a good day.
Well, it's okay. I'm gonna nerd out for a minute. Sorry, you guys. It's actually because of estrogen. So one thing that boosts testosterone is sacrifice. So sacrificing something to earn money boosts testosterone. Boosting testosterone in women makes them stressed, overwhelmed, and depressed. That's why a lot of women don't like to work. It's not because they're lazy. It's because working for money isn't better than staying home and doing what they want to do around the house, which is nurturing, building a home, maintaining relationships. That boosts estrogen, right? So when your estrogen starts to drop, your testosterone goes up, you become overwhelmed, depressed. That's why a lot of people say, why are women working in the first place? But when they're in the workplace, women get stressed out almost instantly compared to men. You know, moderate levels of stress hurt women drastically. So it's not just like nursing, it's literally hormonal imbalance from an activity that women aren't necessarily built to do.
Damn, I never knew something like that. Like that sacrifice builds testosterone.
Right.
Yeah, that's
I
interesting.
ask my husband for something. Yeah. I don't know what, but figure it out though.
Just know.
Well, he has to get something in return. So what it is you're sacrificing for money. Making money makes you independent. Independence builds testosterone. It's that entire path. Dependence builds estrogen. That's why they say, you know, femininity is you have to have the masculine. You have to feel safe, be provided for. Dependence builds estrogen. Feeling safe builds estrogen. It's that entire track. You sacrifice to make money because money makes you independent. So you have to give your husband something in return.
I know what you mean.
And then it's a problem. Problem solving does increase testosterone. So if you say, "Hey, I have this problem," then he'll do it, and then your problem's fixed. You both win.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
She's spot on. She's spot on. That's why when they did a study about it was one that all feminists hate. They can't stand it. I can't remember the author of it, but if they did an experiment where the women and the men got paid only by the work, by the hour, like $40 an hour only if you're work, like only if you work. So instead of having them clock in and all this, they had to have a sensor. At any point, if they remove that, if they missed coming in with the sensor, they were out of the research project. But anyway, they put them in different situationals that was similar to how like a home would be set up, and the men outworked the women like 3 times to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1. So at no point would a woman ever put the same amount of work out like a man. Like it's just not gonna happen. So even if you had equal pay, the company would be shortchanging themselves to give you the same amount of money they gave a man, because most women did not want to work over. Like that was just no, hell no was the answer. Men, hell yeah was the answer. Because the only thing in our minds we was thinking, we did the math. Shit, time and a half. Oh hell yeah, hell yeah. That's all we could think about. The one was like, fuck this. My baby probably missed me. I want to go home. I'm ready to fucking stop. I'm done for the day. And even with Danielle, I'm gonna pick on Danielle for just a minute. She worked when she fucking really wants to, but she don't fucking have to work, so she don't like to. She don't. But it wouldn't be. And when we had these conversations, I'm like, shit, it wouldn't be me. I've been at bed 75 hours a week. No problem.
Eating up as much time as I can. Yeah.
Boy, what? And I'm in charge most of the time. I'm a charge nurse. Oh, nigga, I'm working. Nigga, you want to go on vacation? Yes, I got you. I remember working when I was doing clinical. Well, before I started clinicals, but when I worked at the mental health, the guys now, they could never get the females to work over. On average, the guys would work 80 to 100 hours a week. And the females are fucking crazy. There's no way we working no 100 hours. I'm serious with them checks though.
Yeah,
them checks though.
80 to 100 hours, like goddamn, that's a fat check.
That was a fat ass check, especially now at fucking $14 an hour. That was a fat ass check. What you say, Daniel?
I said, fuck that check. Before you got on here, I had just said that. I said being an employee would stress me out.
See, and
I have to have control. I'm going because I want to go. I want to be here. This is where I'm at today.
But when Chris was saying that, when Chris just said that, I was like, because when you said being an employee stresses me out, I'm like, I don't really think it stresses me out at all. Like, I don't get stressed out by being like, I kind of like, all right, well, got to clock in now. Got to go in, do my job, help these people out. Time to clock out. Okay. Hey, you want to work some overtime? I got some time today. Fuck it, I'll work. That is the thought process. Like, I'll make some money. Fuck it, why not?
Yeah. That's why you don't see a lot of females in sales. Let me tell you something. A female, if you can train her, she'll outsell a male 3 to 1. Sales is a position where females really can outshine males big time, but them motherfuckers don't like the hours. Sales is where you make that bread. I'm telling you.
Hours.
Fuck the hours. If you get good, you can have managed hours. Because at one point, I didn't work on the weekend unless I just wanted to work on the weekend. I could get the weekend off, but I had like 25, 26 cars out before the 17th of the month. So,
but you're again. Come on.
No, but it was like 3 or 4 more other dudes that was like that too, that would have 16, 17 cars out by that time. They would be behind me and one of them, Rufus, would be right like about 21, 22. Me and him would battle tit for tat. And I have been beat by him before. He sold 42, I sold 41 and a half. He beat me by half a unit, but he beat me. So, but yeah. And we had a female, the best she could muster up was like 17, 20. Her best month like 21 because we would rag her and push her along, but she was learning, but she hated the hours. If she would work the same, she left every day when the dealership closed, period. And we used to call her a civil rights activist because she was like, listen, you schedule me to work until this time. I'm here every day. I'm never late. I'm going home. They wanted her to be something she wasn't. And we finally just told the salesman, man, leave her alone, man. She want to go, let her go. I mean, you ain't gonna miss nothing with her. If somebody there and they don't want to be there, you're not gonna sell nothing. You just not like, why you holding her hostage? Let her go. But every day she was out of
there.
You're
gonna get the worst kind of sales out of her if now you're
bro.
keeping
At 7:15, she is cleaning up her desk. She putting shit away. She ain't studying what's out there on no lot. Somebody could walk in. We need to buy 3 cars. She'll go get a salesman. And she'll go get a salesman and say,
damn,
is John available? Yes, I am. Yes,
shit,
Lord, I'm available.
That's fair. Listen, sometimes you just wanna you're done, you know?
Nah.
That's fair. Listen, I get it, man. All right, what's your definition of average? What would you consider the average man?
Average man?
Average, yes. Average, plain old, Jane old, average man.
I mean, across what domain? Like average what? Average.
Average. Like when they say the average man, what do you think? Like, because across YouTube right now, you hear all these buzzwords, but we all know that no woman wants the average man, right? We hear that.
Well,
so what's the average? What do you?
If you wanted to, I mean, there's some truth behind not wanting the average man. I mean, the average man live check to check. He make about $40,000 a year, and ain't worth having. No drive, no ambition. He's wherever he at is where he's at. Average. Now there are some that fit that average. They right now they there, but this is what makes it so hard, and that's why the vetting process needs to come back, because the women can't identify. They can't get out their own way to find that dude. He there, but he's blending in with them. He's that nigga that's this year. For 3 years, he was that fell right into that same dynamic, but he was working on some shit. And then in year 4, he blossomed. The motherfucker turned into Prince Charming on your ass. And he stepped his game all the way up because he was working on something. He just wasn't telling nobody about it. He wasn't out dating. He was chilling. He might go see a female friend or invite one over for some chicken and some dicking, but wasn't nothing serious about it. And he wasn't letting that deter him, get him off his square. He had a goal. He reached his goal, and he went from there. And then now he's hunting. He's actually looking for a wife. But he definitely blacklisted all the ones who blacklisted him. You out of here. There ain't no need even calling now. But so they there. They out there. But it's hard to separate them from what you see. What's average.
So you two are both saying that, and I'm very, very curious at this point because maybe I just have maybe my perception of life is just not there yet. Tack, what's going on, my man?
Tack, what's up, bro?
Good? I'm gonna just say what's good, family. What's good, Dr. John?
What's good?
Maybe my perception of average is screwed. Like it's screwed up because I thought the average person, honestly, the average person working 40 hours a week, they got their 401k.
Thank you. He had the same look as me. This motherfucker got no 401k.
Average. Why wouldn't you not like? Is it not invest in your life, in your future?
Maybe like the average white dude, but not average Negro ain't thinking like that. That motherfucker don't even want you to take shit out his check. Period. Nothing. He don't want no deductions. No motherfucking deductions.
I told you.
That's why he be ready to kill his baby mama. She put him on child support. Now I don't want
I'm
to see
wrong.
shit coming out of there. I don't like taxes coming out. Then you talking about 401k? Hell no.
I'm talking maxing out your
It's
401k,
changing.
and then
It's
the rest of your
changing.
money. Yeah,
Now you
max
saying
it
they want
out.
to max out their 401k? So not only are they contributing, they're contributing the max amount. What the hell
If
is
you're
you
gonna
talking
go
about?
into your 401k, don't go in half-assed. You fucking max that shit out. I thought that was average.
It's changing.
I clearly am
No, bro.
mistaken at this
Now,
point.
listen, let me tell you something. Between ages 30 and 36-ish, maybe that might be average. But I can tell you, nigga, 40 and up, you can fucking forget that. Them niggas ain't thinking about. You know when they start investing in their 401k? I know this. I know that I was a broker. I'm telling you, I know this. When they 42.
I'm paying attention.
Jesus.
42.
I told you they don't be thinking about it until it's time to retire.
42. You got white dudes poised at I was talking on the phone one day. This nigga 56 years old, been retired for 3 years.
Wow.
He been retired for 3 years. Wasn't nothing special about it. He was trying to get me to give him a credit on some shit. But that's how people who got money, that's how they are. They nits. I'm talking about some complete damn near nits that will argue with you over $1.50.
Man,
So $35. But that's neither here nor there. When you, like I said, you know, when you say average, because if you look at the average household live check to check. In America, the average household, even the people who you think are doing good, well, man, they gotta be doing good. They making no, it's simple math. No. See, if you make 100,000 and you spend 97, you ain't no better than a nigga that make 40 and he don't spend but 15. He been much better position than you are. He's got more expendable income. He can take vacations. But how can he do that? He only make 40. It's called this nigga live within his means. He cool with buying motherfucking $700, $800, $1,000, $2,000 car and keeping that bitch up and driving it. He cool with that. He cool with living in a 1,500 square foot home that appraised for $75,000. He cool with that. Because your ass, because you want to look like some shit you seen on TV, your ass go out here, you want to live over here in a gated community where the rent $3,000 and it's tearing your ass up to the point to where you really need a roommate. You and your bitch in one room and y'all renting out to somebody you don't even fucking know. So that's because you trying to appease everybody else. Your ass want to go buy the motherfucking Mercedes that costs $185 damn near to get the oil change. You did that shit because you want to live a lifestyle that your black ass really can't live. You can't, you're not there. They ask you to save something. Save what? Nigga, you need to borrow some money to get this shit right. You can't save nothing.
Black men are jumping out the 15th floor right now after listening to John.
Facts.
They holding the sign saying, I quit.
It's just what I fucking see. It's what I see. I hear it. I listen to the young ones talk about it. Everybody want. I used to tell my baby cousin. I said they be like, how do you know though when a dude I said, bro, unless you have an eye for fashion, right? You ain't gonna be able to look at a rich man to tell when he got money. He don't advertise that shit. Motherfucking rich man got money, you will never know till he ready for you to know. The first date, this motherfucker liable to show up with a polo, some nice khakis, and that be that, right? But a broke dude, you can see the brand newness on the clothes. You
They'll still have the tag on the hat.
Tag will still be in the hat. He flipped it down in the back. If he really trying to impress your ass, he done went out there and got some damn Balenciagas, knowing this motherfucker can't afford them. He ain't stepping in shit, nothing. You hear me? Probably took them off when he was driving, put them bitches on, because he just gonna blow for your ass anyway. Put them on when y'all got to the restaurant. You understand? This motherfucker in some damn bang man, ball main jeans and shit. and he's sweating like a motherfucker. He don't get nothing in him, so he can take them hoes back. Because it's more about what the fuck you look like and this creating this bad perception to make this woman think if she choose you, you got it like that. The truth gonna come out, boo boo, because now you putting her. She judging you. She sizing you up, and she counting your motherfucking pocket, and she finna test your monkey ass. Boo! I had such a great time. We should go to Florida this weekend. I'm sorry. What? What? I can't this weekend. Well, let's go next weekend. You know what? What about the Virgin Islands? You want to go there? I've never been there.
You must have sold her a dream if she's thinking that.
You show up in some goddamn $1,000 damn pants, you're gonna get questions like that. You got that kind of money, you buy some $1,000, $1,500 pair of pants, some damn $1,500 pair of kicks.
You know, I knew someone who actually he was showing me that he bought a $500 pair of pants, and I looked him like straight in the eyes, and I was like, "You spent $500 on these pairs of pants?" He's like, "I know, nice, right?" I was like, "You spent $500 on pants?" Like he was very happy. Like, yeah, I know, right? Like it was just like it was just regular jeans with a shitload of gold paint on it. So it was heavy too.
That is.
I was like, $500. I mean, he was happy with them. Say that again.
He want to look the part, but he's not the part.
We're both plumbers. I mean, no shades of plumbers, but at that point in time, I was.
The way you said this
out.
shit was funny as hell, Clement. I ain't gonna lie. Clement looked at the camera. We're both plumbers.
Yeah.
Hey, what part is he trying to look? That ain't how we look.
But see, the thing about it is, I know that one of y'all actually could get away with buying a couple of pairs of the motherfuckers, and they ain't gonna hurt nothing.
Yeah, but why? $500.
But I know one of y'all wouldn't do that motherfucking shit, but you could, but you wouldn't. You could, but you won't. Won't happen.
Yeah, Ty can take all of us shopping.
We going to Target.
Target the good.
And the way he did his shoulders was funny as hell. We going to Target.
We're going to Target.
I'm about to get it's like every towel set that they got. They towels be so pretty and bright.
This Adidas jacket I have on. So I'm in Chicago. So when I go shopping for just sportswear or just, like a little urban, I dress like a bum anyway. I always did all my life. I just go to like not the good outlets where they speak to you, got security and real cameras. I go to the old ones. So they have one out here in Michigan City. And so this might have cost $19 there or something like that. So that's kind of where I go shopping. I might buy 5 pair of sneakers there at once at the different spots, right? And just grab some stuff. It's not a lot of money, and then it's whatever. But my brother, I have a brother, I remember him and his wife got into it, and we went to pick him up. And he was on in his shirt and all that when we got there. And I'm like, yo, what you doing? She putting you out, But he was a dressy type. He was more flamboyant, right? And he was always kind of not like he was broke most of the time, right? But if you looked at him, you would think he would have something. But to John's point, John could look at him and say, he might see through it, like, people could see through it, right? So a lot of times it's a mixture, like that, like the doctor said. Some people, they don't have anything, and then they overcompensate for how they represent themselves, right? And then other people, they chill back. So for me, I'm not the jewelry. I never was the jewelry. I wasn't the jewelry, flamboyant dresser, any of that. I would always show up like this dude can't afford no clothes. He can't whatever, which was fine. And it's not that I'm rich, none of that. But, when the valet come or when it's time to go out and get in the car, I'm probably valet parked, right? And you're walking with those $800 shoes around the corner where you drove around the restaurant 3 times waiting for an open spot. When the car pull up, it will be an S-Class or a Range Rover or some foreign car, because I don't know about cars. So I get when I go get them and they say, well, sir, which warranty you want? We got 3 classifications. I want the one I ain't got to lie about. And they say, oh, well, you want this one, right? So that's where I invest or I spend my money. It kind of balances out because a lot of people that I see driving other cars, their interest rate is so high, they're driving that high-end car, or if you want to say mid-level car, because maybe they don't have any money, their credit was bad, the average black man making $41,000 a year, and he can't afford it. And then even to the point of 401k, most average black people, their 401k is called taxes every year, okay? That's the closest thing a lot of people get to 401k. Black women seem to be more informed about 401k because they've had more exposure to those jobs and that infrastructure and the education and the information where they can have a tendency to take advantage of that. And they are, to me, better planners in that sense. A lot of times a black man cannot even see his head over that water, over that borderline. And then all of a sudden he turns around and look and he says, oh, I'm 40. I didn't get killed by a drive-by shooting. I don't sell drugs anymore. And I got a job that's offering 401k. But now because of his history and his background, he's not even in a position to contribute to something like that. You know, it's so many dynamics involved. And that's why for a lot of black men, it's more than enough. The self-esteem of the average black man is just so low, you could just walk on it, you know, is at the level of a carpet in some homes where somebody walks through, you're walking on that man's self-esteem in a lot of ways. So yeah, it's crazy. I have empathy for it all, you know, I do. A lot of empathy for it.
I'm learning something today. I had a whole different image of what the average man was.
Hell no.
But guess how much the average, but when you talk about the wage gap, if I'm just going to interject that, all right? The average black man making $41,000, the average white man of the same age and the wage gap, they're making $58,000.
Yep. Yeah.
So even average not equal in this country.
It's about $17,000 to $20,000 different.
No doubt.
In pay for
No
the
doubt.
same. Matter of fact, we was reading something in Cason. Yeah, Cason 2017 did Pew Research conducted a study on the, because you know Pew Research is an independent organization that conducts research.
Yeah.
They don't go, they research everything. If you want to know the average goat size, they fucking probably got a research article about it, right? Did you know that a white man can have felony drug charges and a black man with no drug charges, no record is the white man is still twice as likely to get invited for an interview over that black guy? And see, that's why grandmamas used to tell these daughters, watch what the fuck you name your child. That's how I got the name John. Because John can be white or John can be black. And be like, man, that's just a name, bro. No name, man. I'm like, nigga, that's your whole fucking identity. What you mean? Nigga, that's who you the fuck you are. You better stop buying into this multiple personality disorder they trying to push out here in these fucking streets. Jamie Foxx name is not fucking Jamie Foxx. Look it up. Do the research. That motherfucker was not born named Jamie fucking Foxx. It was not his name. His grandmama, who raised him in Texas, knew the importance of a fucking name. So he gave himself Jamie and spelled it with the fucking IE so that they would think he might be a fucking white female.
Or Spanish.
And that's how he fucking got his start in the clubs and shit like that. His name. You got to get in the door. And then when you get in the door, you can't have face tats. neck tats, hand tats. You can't. Fuck all that. And nigga, that ain't who you are. You weren't born with the motherfuckers. That's who you like to be. That's not who the fuck you are. You portraying a fucking role, bro. You playing a role. Some shit you picked up from watching somebody because you feel like this nigga has got better swag. So this what the fuck you do. You emulating somebody. You went your whole life because you can't even get a fucking tattoo before you 18. Unless your mom them take and put it on you.
So you think that's what the average man is essentially doing for the majority of his life?
Playing a fucking role. He playing a part. And he playing the part that people that they believe that the women like. But the women do like that. They like that dude. But you're not that guy yet.
So let me ask Tack and John this, because I did ask Danielle and Chris already. What's the average woman? What would an average woman be considered? Like,
you talking about looks, money? What are you talking about?
The package.
I sound just like me when you ask me that damn question. Like what?
Yeah, the whole package.
What you talking about?
So here on you know going around a lot of YouTube, you'll hear the average man. No one wants the average man, right? So that's why I wanted to break down what is the average man. Like what exactly is the average man doing? I thought the average man held a 40-hour a week job and put a little bit on the side to save for his life and lived, after he was done with work, he'd come home and watch TV, maybe go to the gym. I thought that was average. I thought that was standard. But I'm hearing that it's not.
I mean,
so
go ahead, doctor. You can go ahead, doctor.
What would be the average woman?
The average woman, from what I can see, from what I'm paying attention to, the average woman is focused more on career than being a family person. She don't really, she getting outside of her role. She live outside of her role. That's why it's so hard for her to find husbands. That's why a lot of these guys don't want to marry. Because you're not giving me that picture that I'm imagining in my head. Just like a women have imagined what what their husband would be like, what he would look like, all this shit, and come up with a list that nobody can fucking meet the standards on that bitch, and then they reduce it down over time. Well, men, the list ain't that long, but the actions that we looking for, they ain't putting them out there. You go into between the age of like 25 and 30, you go visit their house, they messy, they'll never clean up, they probably order food a lot. They don't, if they want to get married, they just not showing no signs that they will make a good wife. Like they talk more about what they got going on in the future, and it's career based. If they get pregnant, it was an accident. It was not really intentional.
Wow. Huh.
That's why you don't see the rate of marriage is going down, but childbirth is still staying around the same, if not higher. And nobody's want to get married. And they've learned that marrying for a child, that's not gonna happen. You can kill out that noise. So why you fucking her? Like, why you barebacking? She ain't give you no wifey signals. Strap it up, beat it down, move on to the next.
Beat it down. That sounds like some good lyrics.
That's what the average woman looking like to me. She more career focused. She ain't really about being a wife.
Okay, interesting. Tack, what do you think?
I mean, I talk to different women sometimes, and many of them talk about God or their faith, the career, the family, how they see themselves. Now, most of these women are single, right? I don't really conversate with a lot of married women. Most of them are either divorced or they they haven't been married. And what happens is it seems like many of them, after they go through some real life stuff, maybe the first marriage, the first kid or two, or whatever like that, it seems like where they are now is based on some of the takeaways or how they process what happened earlier. So some of them, it sounds like I did that thing already. I gave my all. I was blind, deaf, and dumb. Whatever he said, I was with it. Even after the second time we got arrested together. Okay. So this is it. Then they put emphasis on education, independence, and it seems like that safety net or that insurance to make sure that they don't put themselves in harm's way again or make themselves so vulnerable because of what love was and what it was supposed to be and that so-called commitment and that thing called the institution of marriage, that's the route that some of them take. That's kind of what I'm hearing, you know. Now, it's very interesting though, because I don't have it's not binary to me. There is that gray area. There is what happened, maybe what you never tried, and then everything in between, because everybody, they just do not process everything the same way. So I know a woman I talked to, she says, yeah, I was basically the stay-at-home wife and boom, boom, boom. But after that relationship, she now overcompensates, master's degree, willing to work. She's, you know, so it
burn herself out
depends.
working.
Yeah, it depends like on that. Now, in terms of money, salary, man, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna front. When it comes to people who work at a company, the women that I've run into or have conversations with, they get in that bag compared to what men are making. And I'm that's how I see it. Because I talk to some women, they making six figures, you know, they doing some stuff. And I talk to some guys, they making 65, they making, and 65 is cool. They making 40, they making 70 or whatever like that. Nothing's wrong with that. I'm just doing a comparison of who I organically communicate with or whatever like that. So if you saying what's average to me, for me, I see a lot of women that's compensating, maybe overcompensating or putting themselves in a position based on maybe some lessons learned from that first part of that life thing that they went through. That's what I experienced, you know.
Could there be any room for them to want to actually get their education done with?
Get it done with? What you mean?
Yeah, like actually like pursue a little bit more of their career. Give me 1 second.
Oh
I'll be right
yeah, a lot of them. That's what they do now. A lot of them. What I find that I speak with, they are pursuing that next level of education, the master's degree, or they're finishing up school. They've connected the dots. They understand that the path that they're on, if nothing else but for the interview or for that upward mobility, they might need that little piece of paper, that certification or that license. It doesn't have to necessarily be a degree, but the emphasis is on what do they need to take care of in their process before they say to a man, here I am, I'm yours, I'm vulnerable, I'm just open to whatever again, because what I hear sometimes is I already did that. And the outcome of that, it wasn't the way that I thought it was going to be. That's kind of the sense that I get a lot of times. Now, me personally, I might have a construed perspective. It may not be correct, but women, black women, they just seem when they on that career path, they just seem like they at it. They're the mom, they're full-time student, they doing the work thing, you know, and man, and then the black guy, the black man, he has so many other challenges, it seems like, and the emphasis on education may not be as strong while at the same time holding it down for full time or something like that, you know. Um, yeah, it's some strange dynamics, but
We cause these dynamics though.
Huh?
Us as black men cause these dynamics because we were not raised to play the game.
Absolutely.
See, it's a game.
Absolutely.
And you gotta know how to play the game.
Absolutely.
You gotta if you want to be thugging and that's your thing, do your thing.
Yeah, right.
But if you're not that dude, you're not really that guy, you're not really from that dynamic. Like I wasn't from that dynamic, man. I wasn't born and raised in no damn project. Now I was in the hood. That's a fact. But that wasn't who I was. I know why I went, you know what I'm saying? I know why I went down the path. I ain't have no father in the home. I ain't have a way to test myself. So, and I have no siblings. So, you know, plus I was withheld from it. So when I got old enough, I ran toward it. I was already drifting toward it when I was 15, 16 years old. And I got immersed in it when I was 17. And by the time I was 18, I was a nursing student at JSU, graduated high school, nursing student, not in the program yet, but when you go to a 4-year university, you still consider that you major in nursing, you're a nursing student. You're just not at the College of Nursing yet. You're still doing your stuff, right? Yep. I get a job at the nursing home. Everything is lining up. I got RNs ready to telling me, you know, take this class with that class. Wait, when you get here, blah, blah, blah. I go and see my cousin, fresh ass J's, fresh ass outfit. I'm like, bro, how you get all this? And he showed me. And boy, I quit my job. So dope, I almost went to prison and ended up going in the military. And but after that, later on in life, was balling on from a legal perspective, and then fell off because you know why? I had no money management skills. I wanted to spend it as fast as I could get it. You understand? And I was making a lot of it. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, as I tell everybody, if you stand on the same floor with a motherfucker you watching on TV, and you're not on TV, nigga, you probably living above your means. You probably shouldn't be there. Yeah, I was bringing home about $213 a year, but you still don't stay at the Waldorf Astoria and get the fucking vice presidential suite at $5,000 a night. You don't do that, and you damn sure don't stay 2 or 3 nights. You don't do that.
Yeah,
because a fool and his money shall soon part. And me and my foolish ass, the money parted. It took about 10 years, but still, it fucking parted. I looked up one day, I was in a homeless shelter. Embarrassed. Didn't want nobody to know me. Moved to fucking Huntsville. When nobody knew who I was. At all. Like, how you do that? Because I spent a lot of fucking money. That's how I did it. $5,000 suits. Stroking the check for $35,000, $40,000 cars. Damn baby mama, not even my wife. Now baby mama got a car just as nice as mine. Got a truck, fucking boat. To this day, I still don't have a fucking boating license. She had to drive the fucking boat. I don't know how to drive. I know how to drive that motherfucker. I don't know none of the rules. None of them. I don't know what side you're supposed to pass on, none of that bullshit. But I wanted a boat. But I didn't want to go get the license. Mindset. Hindsight 2020 was my mindset. I wanted every fucking thing but I ain't want to put the real work in to keep everything. I was just willing to put the surface level work to fucking maintain everything.
There you go.
Now, see, that's different.
Now, let me ask you guys this, because I'm pretty sure I asked the ladies this earlier too. At what point in time is it okay to kind of just back? You know what? Let's do this quick reaction first. I want to watch this video and then get your reaction to it, and then we'll go a little bit more on it. So, fair use, fair use. This is from the Thinking Man's podcast. Great show. Great cast over there. Fair use.
All that kind of stuff.
Career days. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, and I was just like, oh no. No.
But that's just the thing though. That's always costs more than what we're willing to pay at times, right? And I think that's why it's important to define your own level of success and be okay with what you define as success.
Yeah.
Because what somebody else have, I had people come up to me and tell me, man, I'm trying to get like you, I'm trying to be in the position you in. And I always tell them, you don't want to go through the hell I've been through to get to where I'm at. You don't want to pay that price. I promise you don't want to pay that price. But for me, if I'm constantly looking at the ETs and the Inky Johnsons and the Les Browns and the Lisa Nichols and Tony Robbins, and I'm hearing them say, you can't sleep, or you don't need to sleep, you need to grind. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I get up at 2 o'clock. I'm up from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. the next day. And I'm like, okay, if that's what it takes to be successful the way they are, then I'm going to try that. But that doesn't work for my body. You see what I'm saying? And I want success, but not at the expense of me losing my family, not at the expense of me losing my mind, not at the expense of me breaking down, dying potentially because I'm not taking proper care of myself and getting the things that I need. Like, success is dope, but it ain't dope enough for me to have to, lose my life and I couldn't enjoy it anyways. So I think we got to reprogram our minds, focus on what it is that we need to live, because I think a lot of times we we hyper focus on, I need to make this certain amount of money for what?
Thoughts?
All right, so I saw some of that stream. Okay.
You were in the comment section. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so I saw some of that. Okay. So let me throw this at you. I'm gonna just throw this out there to add some practical or some real sense to it also.
Okay.
On paper, probably in some school, maybe chapter 4, page 238. Everything he said is true. Okay. So, yeah, you want to read that and answer correctly if they give you a midterm or something. But the reality of it is, in many cases, it's almost, sometimes you hear people talk like that because they look back at what they've been doing, or they look at what they're doing and they sense that they might have been wasting some time because the methodology may not have been correct, because the time they've been putting in may not have been correct. You know, it's almost hearing people like I get this year, I'll just say I'm probably gonna make $15,000 a month, right? This year, right? So you can project that out, $180,000, right? The guy that's making 41, if you ask 4 of them or 5 of them, would you like to make 180 a year? They'll say no, because I don't want to pay the taxes. That rationalization. Is it true that it's a high tax category? Maybe. Sure it is, single, no dependents, right? But that's not why some people really say it. There's a reason why there's a standard deviation of 68%, because that's the normality. That's the normalization zone. That's where typically the probability of things occurring for the masses, that's where that is. The people who are willing to put that extra work in, read when it's not required. It's like I tell my daughter, when you graduate from college your degree is going to be as flat as the certificate they printed out on. The real question becomes, how do you blow helium into it, not oxygen? Helium. So as you blow it, it rises. I know, Dad, you've been telling me that. I said, yeah, but yours going to be flat based on the way you do things. Why you say that? Because you don't read when you don't have to. You don't stay up longer than that's required. You know, all of these things, right? So if I can just use myself being subjective, it took me 2 years probably to be able to comfortably make almost $1,000 a day. Always in less than 8 hours. Just always, right? Okay. Nothing spectacular, but that work was put in. So now I don't sit and watch the screen and look at all the news and go down a rabbit hole and do all of that stuff. You wanted to determine where you want to be. Just like you, CKQ. Your training is great to me because I don't train. He always at it. He's going hard. But you know if your training might cost you a fight because you didn't put those additional hours in, or you ate too many donuts that week, or I'm making it up. So that's why I say that sound good. And it sounds like sometimes people are making the mistake going hard like that. But at the end of the day, give me somebody. If you name 5 great men or 5 above the average men in what they do, tell me which one of them did it getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Tell me which one of them did it without denying their family some time. Tell me which one of them did it without denying themselves. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's the reality of it. But for what he said and all that, it's textbook, man. Yeah, it makes sense. And that's why I made a comment after he said he want to be a millionaire. I put a comment in, not getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep every night.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, think about it. Name somebody you respect that's great in their field. That's above average in what they do. Think about any overtime or extra you receive, CKQ, doing your profession. Leaving exactly when you're good, getting there on time, doing just enough to keep the job. Right? Where don't that apply? Where won't that apply? Now, if you're saying when should you chill out and take it easy and kind of when it slows down, when it's not coming at you, when you done put enough eye time in, hand time in, mental in, where you see the flow of this thing now. Now Jordan ain't got to run up and down the court just as fast. Now I can gallop down there, stop at about 8 to 12 feet, and just light your ass up for the next 7 years. That's when you pull it back. But until you get up on it like that, I ain't gonna say go hard. You can describe it any way you want. You gotta go in like that. I mean, if you want to be outside of that 68% of normal, that's how I look at it.
When I listened to him, I heard him give out the perfect formula for mediocrity. You're a mediocre nigga. Ain't nothing special about you. You talk a good game, but you ain't got no fight. You know what I'm saying? You talk a good game, but you ain't got no fight. Now, Clement, you a fighter. I'm a fighter. And you can understand this. The worst motherfucker that you could ever fight is the one that don't know he can't get beat by you. Is the one who, no matter what the fuck you do, he keep getting up. You could be skull dragging his ass, but you gonna have to keep skull dragging.
That is the worst person.
That's the fucking worst person in the fucking nigga. He almost make you want to quit.
Mm-hmm.
We like, fuck, die, something. You know what I'm saying? But that dude right there, it's your mindset. the law of attraction. If you say, I don't want to do, I want this, but I'm not going to do this, then you're right. And you'll never get that.
I heard defeat all in that speech he gave.
Defeated. He defeated. He
Defeated.
personally
That's right.
defeated.
That's right.
And what he's doing right now, from a psychological perspective, you just really want me to fucking let you know, is he's looking for reassurance from the audience on decisions that he's made in life because he's failed. He know he's defeated himself the way he know he's only going to reach a certain point and he's never going to reach that image in his head. He may say, I'm going to be a millionaire one day, but he's creating that comfort zone, that safety blanket of acceptance for when he fails. He knows he's not going to do what it takes to get there. So now he's just cushioning his blow when he falls. And then putting that toxicity out in the air and people buying into it, that's dangerous. That's dangerous, dude. Mediocre as fuck. There wasn't nothing there was nothing positive in that shit. All I heard was failure, laziness, fail. But you not just like when you open a business, you work harder than you do opening a business than working for somebody else. That's a whole fact. You're not fixing to open a business and think you're gonna sit your black ass at home, not come to work today. No.
See, I said that, and you just heard he wants to give up, huh?
Yeah.
What did you say?
He is looking for. He got the excuse right now. He's setting up the fucking excuse.
You hear what he said? He said, my family, my kids. I thought he was gonna say and plus when you stay up late, that you destroy the environment, you breathe out more carbon dioxide or something.
But everybody tried to get on my shit. But I'm gonna keep that shit 100, bro. Man, you name me 6 motherfucking men that goddamn care about being at home with the motherfucking kids and the wife like that, bro. Name me 6. Real men who just like, I can't wait to get home to my wife and kids. If that's true, then why so many fucking men work overtime? Willingly, voluntarily. They might want to be ready to goddamn go home, but they ain't ready to spend no time with no fucking kids. They get their black ass home, fucking goddamn kids. I'm going to bed. I've been at work all day, working hard. I want to take a nap. I ain't doing no damn dishes. I don't want to do all that. Don't I take care of you? Don't I keep a roof over your head? And blah, 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 blah. Y'all all done heard it before, or somebody talked to you about it. Yeah, girl, he work a lot. I understand, but still though, because the nigga don't think like that. So why you gonna get me to believe your ass is thinking like that? Oh, not at the risk of my kids and my man. Shut up. Get the fuck out of here. If you weak, just say I'm too weak to do it. Just say it. Stand on your shit. Stand 10 toes down and just say I don't want to fucking do it. Do you know that less than 2% of the fucking world population, 2.3%, have a fucking doctorate? It's not required. You don't need it. It's practically useless. Or is it? Or does it help with your mindset? Does it make you push yourself beyond what the fuck you need to be pushed? Let me just answer that for you. You goddamn right it do. Because I don't need it. I don't have to have it. I just want the motherfucker. And I'm willing to fucking do what it takes to get it. That means working full time, being a fucking father, trading, and just giving up, making a sacrifice on being out here in the streets. Oh, damn. What am I missing? Man, I'm 47 years old, been in 25 different fucking countries and speak multiple fucking languages. I don't give a fuck. Ain't nothing going to impress me in no fucking streets in America.
Let me ask you this. To be less of an average person, from what it sounds like, to be less of an average person, you just have to start sacrificing more of what you want to actually do and prioritizing on what you don't want to do but need to do or should do.
I think I know what you're saying. You fucking crossed me up a little bit, but I think I know what you're saying. So for you to be not such a for you to be start moving toward above average, then you need to focus on your mindset. That's the first thing you got to do. Because if you don't focus on your mindset, nothing else is gonna happen. It's just not. It's just not. Your mindset has to be put in growth mode. Your mindset has to be put in growth mode, whatever that looks like to you. If it means somebody putting your ass to some battery cables and jump starting your ass, whatever. But that mind need to be put in growth mode. You have
I was about to ask, is it a pill for that or something? Is it a pill for that growth mode? I need to find a pill that got that.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I read the book Mindset by Carol Dweck, that's what helped.
No, I need a pill because the motherfuckers who need that mindset, they don't like to read.
That's true. Fair. Well, listen to the motherfucker. You don't like to read, get the motherfucking one on Audible. It'll read it to your ass. You know what I'm saying? All you gotta do is listen and take the shit in. But first thing you gotta change is your mindset. Second thing, you gotta come up with some goals. Third, so you gotta have a vision, a reachable vision. Then you need to start putting out some reachable goals to help you reach that vision, right? And then you need to put a fucking plan of action together. And you gotta stay to that fucking blueprint. This whole Dr. PhD shit, this shit started 6 years ago. 6-7 years ago. You understand? This ain't some shit I did. I thought I was gonna do like overnight.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
You understand? So I just stuck with it. Was it hard? Yeah, it was hard. I told you on one of the other shows, I would call Unique crying. The stress, I felt that shit. I felt that fucking pressure. That pressure was real. Because you can't make below a fucking B-. Period. You can't. You don't have a and then at that level of fucking B- is a fucking 83. A B is a fucking 90. A B. You understand? Nigga, you ain't even talking about no A until you get over 93%. Do you know what kind of pressure that is? You make a B- here, which is 2.67. You can't have a motherfucking GPA lower than 3.0. So going into your next term, you already on academic probation, nigga, with a 2.67. So, nigga, you got to get a 90-fucking-3. You really got to get a 94 in a fucking class at 700 level plus. What kind of pressure you think that is? And then you working, you doing your regular life. That's some pressure. So if you're not willing to, so if I followed this nigga blueprint, I would just have a bachelor's and that. I probably just have a high school diploma, to be honest with you. I would have stopped there. No, I have a high school diploma. I'm gonna change what he just said. I'm gonna put it into context for you. I have a high school diploma. Okay. And sure, I want to get my doctorate one day, but not at the expense of my fucking mental health. Everybody ain't cut out for college. Everybody just ain't.
That's right. That's right.
So I understand that. But I'm going to get it one day. But I'm going to tell you what, I'm not going to ruin my mind. I'm going to get me 8 hours of sleep every night. And I'm going to work my job every day.
Do you not think that at some point in time you need to do you guys believe in like a mental health day off?
Yeah. You do need that.
Of course.
But you know that shit going into it. That's a part of the action plan. When you gonna take the days off? When are you not gonna do? When you gonna, like, for instance, when I have to study, and I teach my kids the same thing. You don't fucking study for 1 hour straight. No, sir. You study for 15 minutes. You take a break for 10 minutes. You study for 15 minutes. You take a break for 10 minutes. The other 15 minutes, you write your flashcards about the first 15 minutes. The next 15 minutes after the break, you study those flashcards. and you rinse, wash, repeat this process until you studied about 2 hours, you'll get much better results. I'm telling you, you'll get much. And this is, I can't remember the research, but this is a known fact. Okay, this is a research fact. You retain more information that way than you trying to fucking study for 6 hours straight. Because what happens when you think you're gonna read for 6 hours, first of all, after the first 15 minutes, you are skimming. You're not even fucking reading no more. And if somebody asks you about what you just read, you can tell them the first, in the middle, maybe one or two things, but you learn, the closer you get to the end, you know less. But you're not fixing to tell them on any of the pages. So if you read 10 pages, you say you read 10 pages, right? In 2 or 3 hours, you read 10 pages. You're gonna know what you read at first, on the first page. You're not gonna know shit around the middle, and you'll know even less at the end. But the last page, you might be able to know one or two things off of there. That's it, because you were skimming. And your eye caught some shit, and you may have a good memory recall just about from visual.
Just to call it out, yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to have an actionable plan, like a real plan.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, you could have went to I got accepted into medical school, took the fucking MCAT, scored in 95 percentile, 3.8 GPA in sciences. Yeah, sure could have, right? But part of my actionable plan was the contingency if life shows up, because I'm 40 something years old going into a graduate level. You understand? Life can show up. So do I want to take $100 and something, $200,000, $400,000 investment and play with that time, where within 3 years, and you over 40, you got kids out here, and you ain't married to nobody, right? What is the probability of something happening that you really need to be working? Because you can't work when you're in medical school and think you're gonna be able to fucking route the motherfucking neurological makeup in the fucking brain from memory on a fucking test. That's not multiple choice. Completely motherfucking fill in the blank and match the diagram up. So you got to know your shit. You're not fixing to work under those circumstances. So when does this show up though? Does it show up at $80,000 in, $100,000 in, $200,000 in? You about to go to residency, and then I got a whole child living with me now. I would just be a third-year medical student right now. Where would we be? I would be at medical school. Well, guess who can't live there? Well, you can get medical. You can get how? Guess who can't live there? I just told you how hard this shit is. So you got time to help him with his homework? He got to eat. You think medical students make money? No, they don't. You live off financial aid.
Let's get Tack. Tack was going to ask a question. What were you going to ask?
No, I was saying, like, when doctors say they prescribe to patients, well, just take 2 of these every 4 hours, take 1 of these once a day, and they give you enough for 10 days or 30 days, whatever the case might be. In a lot of situations, not all of them. I'm just saying the majority, right? They're really giving a general prescription. They're giving general guidelines. Some people don't really need 2 pills every 4 hours. Okay. Some people don't need, they just don't. Okay. Now you box, you train, you know your body. Okay. You know when you need to take rest. You know when you need to step back. It's not going to matter to you much if the coach keep telling you, keep going, your trainer keep telling you, no, you got to do this. You're going to understand some mechanics. You're going to understand some things about you and your body and your mental state beyond you understanding the technical terms, the vernacular, and all of that stuff in the profession. And then you just going to sit down for a minute. And you might meditate on it. You might think about it. You might do some research. You might call a friend. You might go to the doctors or whatever like that. So these mental health days, I just don't understand the scheduling of it. Because there's one thing to look at sick time as a shadow of vacation time, and you burn those up. But there's another thing when you're actually thinking that Tuesday is my mental health day. Well, you might not need that mental health day on a Tuesday, but if you're in a situation where you could just take one of those days off because you're building up these mental health days, and maybe Tuesday is the day that you need it, then cool. Or if you're thinking that Tuesday would be the day that I'm gonna go to the gym or the spa and just relax, just to take a break from everything, then you cool. It's just the idea that when they putting terms on it and they're scheduling it out, that still doesn't work for people who need mental health days at certain times, because that's a hard scheduling process other than you taking a break, maybe being decoupled or detethered from the workplace. And I understand that too. Now for myself, I'm not really involved in a lot of that because most of what I do is just 1099. It's, if I'm doing something for somebody, it might be a contract or a little project, and it's different and it's far and in between, right? What I do for myself to earn the majority of my money, of course, is the day trading. I take mental health days, right? I lay back and just, I do read. I do a lot of that stuff, right? But that's the difference between maybe people, as we say, average people or outliers or above average people or different things like that. Yeah, you how do you get there? I bet you the majority of the people who wrote these books that say you need 10 hours of sleep, they didn't take 10 hours of sleep in that process. It wasn't until they got to some point that they say 10 hours of sleep would really help you. And if you was to say to that doctor or that social scientist, how many hours of sleep was you getting when you was going through this process? I didn't get it for years. Okay, so if you're result driven, how do you weigh between the mental health and you getting done what you need to get done if you got a fight coming up or you got a big project coming up or whatever that is? How do you do that? How does one do that?
I guess you would probably lean more towards what would keep you more mentally fulfilled.
Exactly. You're gonna get dopamine, bro. Like some of the best, some like what he was saying, it sounded good. You feel me? But it wasn't necessarily accurate. You understand? It's accurate to a mediocre person. It's music to your ears for a lazy motherfucker who want to justify being a bum. You understand? Gave him several excuses. But when you results driven, like Talk was saying, you gonna produce them fucking endorphins, endomorphines in your brain, bro.
You're not even gonna
Understand?
surround yourself with people like that, man.
Right. When you, bro, producing them motherfucking endorphins is powerful. It's powerful. It's a drug. You can get high if you produce enough of them. Facts. The same route in the ventral tegmental area, their heroin effect, endorphins, they attach to the same motherfucking dope, the same opioid receptors. Theta, mu, and kappa. Same ones. That's why when you talk to some runners, they go running every morning, right? And they fucking addicted to running every fucking morning. Like they're damn near go through withdrawals if they don't get to run. They're running the rain and snow. Yeah, go ahead, talk.
CKQ, let me say this about your channel. Let me say this about your platform. Here's the only reason why I look forward to your platform. Not because you guys are in agreement with my perspective or ideas or any of that, but because what happens here is how do we identify solutions, growth? This is a meeting of the minds. The reason why it's hard for me to go back to certain platforms is because you have all of these wonderful people with all of this wonderful education, and all they're doing 90% of the platform is identifying what's wrong, slaying people, chopping the system down, throwing others away, and all of this stuff, right? And I understand that. That might be the incentive for the channel. Whatever. Do your
Yeah,
thing.
it gets viewers, you know.
Huh?
I guess viewers that like the salacious stuff does get like, you know.
Right, like whatever it is. But like here, it's like, how do we share the idea and say, oh, you know what? I didn't look at it from that angle. Because here the emphasis is less on identifying what's wrong. Yeah, we need that because that's okay. Did you look at that? Do that seem crazy? Yeah, that seemed crazy. Now we're going to show a little empathy why that might be that way. And then we're going to give some examples of being subjective. Here's where I'm at with it based on way I was raised in my culture and different things like that. And then we get to hear it differently. We get to understand it, you know, the different professions. You're a plumber. We have a nurse, but you're also a fighter. We have the doctor. I don't know what the blooming Ebony does yet. What do you do for a profession?
I'm a tax accountant.
Look, we got the
It's her
numbers
season right
game.
now.
We got the numbers person in the house, and here's this is what I'm saying. So it's like that's why I keep coming back. Going to other platforms where there's just defeat, and then it's all these chopping it down and all of that. If I can't get nothing out of it, at that point, I either have something to give or I step back. That's just where I'm at with it. Because I have to feed my own beast. I have to be able to eat off of it. And so when I say you won't even surround yourself around people like that, here's the business. A person don't have to be where you at. Either you're going to help them up, you're going to bring them in, and you're going to give them something, or you're going to be able to chop it up and y'all going to be able to give each other something. That's the way I kind of move, because in a progressive way of thinking, that's how progressive-minded people think. They want to do that. So now I have a question for you. $275 is $100,000 a year. $275 a day. How much could we just instantly change your salary to if you already enjoyed your work and it was rewarding to you, that you would feel like, you know what, I'm good right here? CKQ, I want you to give me a number.
How much could we change my salary to so that I would step away from doing what I
No, not if what you're doing, if you enjoy it. If that's currently rewarding to you and you enjoy what you do. Because I never believe in, I wish I had enough money not to do something, because everybody to get enough money where they don't have to do nothing, they look for something to do. So I never asked that question. So if you were doing something that was rewarding to you, like if what you do now is rewarding to you, and if you could just get it at this level per year, you would enjoy what you do, what would that number be for you?
Dollar amount, huh? I've never really thought about
per
this,
year. What would that number be?
I would say I don't need much. Maybe, I mean, like what I'm making. So I would even drop it to 80K. Let's just say 80K.
You would say 80K, right? So 275 is 100K a year, right? So you're dropping it to 80K. So then we can bring that down to about 2.25 or something like that, right? A day. Now think about $225 a day. Does that sound like a lot to you?
$225 a day?
A day.
Well, after watching it again, I know that it's a no. But
well, if we divide it by 10, that's $22.50 an hour, right?
Okay.
Divided by 10. See how it's starting to look so doable now? It's like if you start giving a real number, and then putting real time, and then real action, all of a sudden it becomes is so doable. It's
so
right.
You're just saying, okay, let's just say if I'm trying to get into the stock market, don't try to aim to be the next, I don't know, the next you or John, but just aim for like a small goal. Let's aim $40,000. Break that down into divided by 10 and whatever that is.
What's your phone bill a month? Just
honestly, I pay that annually, and that's like about $340 something.
Okay, so then if you pay, you say you pay it annually, so it's
And
like $30 a month.
yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, so let's use $32 or $30 a month, right? So now take $30 a month and divide that by 20, right? 20. So 20 divided into 30 is 1.5, right? So
Okay.
1.5 is $1.50 a day because it's only 20 trading days into a month minus holidays and weekends, right? So that's $1.50 a day. 2 times $1.50 is $3, right? So we can whatever. All right. Now, check it out. Imagine just making enough in the stock market to pay a phone bill. And then you throw your cable bill in there. And then you throw your gas electric bill in there. So now you up to where, damn, if I could just make $72 a week, I'm paying all of this reoccurring stuff. And then when it sounds like $72, it becomes real doable. See, the idea here is when people throw out these arbitrary numbers, 6 figures, and I wish I could get 80,000. You can. It's right there. There's something that you can tweak and change and work towards. And it might take 6 years, and it might take 3 years, or it might take 6 months, or it might take so and so. And you could actually be there. Now the question is, like you say, I need my 8 to 10 hours of sleep. I need my mental health days. I gotta go over to the Defeatist platform and listen to you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And then it becomes something different. A friend of mine's today, he just transferred $8,000 into his brokerage account. I'm on his screen today, right? He says, "Talk, I'm ready. Ready." I said, yeah, I'm almost scared for you. And he says, "Why?" "Because you might just give that away." I said, if you could find it in yourself just to use $100 of it or $250 of it, I would recommend that. And he says, "But then what?" "Make $1 a day." He says, $1? Yeah. If you can make $1 a day, don't focus on the money. You're demonstrating the skill set at $1 a day. That's it. That's it. That's what I would recommend. See, your money ain't gonna make you knowledgeable. The discipline would be to put the skill set in before it. So I'm trying to make it doable to them. I'm trying to present them with the principles and practices, and obviously the example of it, right? And that's why I say to you that 80,000, if you would be good with that, which I don't think you will. As soon as you get it, you're gonna get tired of looking at it. But for the sake of this conversation, if you would be good with that, it's right there. I don't think that that's a far reach. I think that you could bring in some other source of income that could make it happen, or I think that you could step some other level up to make that happen. I don't know what your situation is with your boxing. Do you box professionally? You get paid?
I'm actually gonna have my first one on April 2nd, my first pro debut. Yeah.
So yeah, congratulations. So I'm just saying all of that to say that it's doable, man.
Yeah.
It's doable. And do you lose sleep training for your boxing? Do you give up sleep?
Yes.
Do you give up favorite foods that you want to eat?
Absolutely. I give up a
Okay.
lot.
All
I'm giving
right.
up a lot of time.
Are you going to be giving up a lot of opportunities to have sex as you get closer to the fight?
Yep.
Okay. So how are we going to go by what that dude said the other day? If you want what you want, that's what we're getting at. You respect a Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, a Michael Jordan, Mayweather. You respect all those guys, right?
Yeah.
Why were they at the first one at the gym and the last one to leave the ring?
Every time.
So if you want the comfort of like my daughter told me the other day, she came and visited me. You know what she said, CKQ? "Dad, you know what?" I like, "What?" because I always, I can't tell her no. I just slow down, listen to her, though, right? I say, what? We live a fortunate life. I said, really? She was like, yeah, Dad. I said, I thought I live a fortunate life and you live a real great one.
Yeah.
Because
she don't understand it, yeah.
she live a great life. She bounced between me and her mother house. She got a room in both one. I mean, I just got an apartment, but she still has a room. But the point of it is, I can't afford that if I don't put the work in. She doesn't see the work that I put in, so she just appreciates whatever.
Yeah,
so it's all about what you want, I think, at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I second that notion. When I first taught myself how to trade, I wasn't trying to make no fucking $100,000 fucking dollars. I wanted to learn how to fucking set up an iron condor, how to close it down, how to damn not. Man, I would set one trade. One. When I say one trade, I mean one, not one lot. One trade, only one. And I would watch it. And this is why I was developing that skill set, like what he was talking about. You understand? And I would make $10, maybe 20 off of that one trade. Or I would do something that's real safe, like a cover call or a cash secure put. But then once I started learning other strategies and I learned how to fix them, I started doing a little bit more. So then that $20 every 2 days, $40 every 2 days, $125 every 2 days, $340 every 2 days. Then that shit, it got to where at one point, only reason I took a fucking job listening to Clement ass, I ain't got to work at all. Period. But what the fuck you said made so much good sense. I was like, you're already at home. So why would you not? And I'm like, I believe that an older black dude should be the example for the young black dude. And I got the sense that Clement was picking my brain from certain things. So I'm like, you know what? You're right. I didn't fucking want to, but I didn't want to be a bad example for him. So I did it. I took a job working from home because I was spoiled. There was no fucking way I'm leaving my house going into nobody's office. It's just not gonna happen. It's not.
I mean, the opportunity came to you. That's why it was, to me, it was like it's a no-brainer. If you're still gonna be doing the exact same thing that you're doing now,
right?
Except making money,
right? And now looked at it. Okay, it's just multiple streams of revenue. I think that's how you position it to me.
Yes.
And my black ass bit hook, line, and sinker. So thank you, Clement. Thank you.
There you go.
For taking away more time, but that's fine. That's cool.
You're welcome for the more money in your pockets. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did do that to the point where they like, well, it's just a call center job. See, it's got a sales dynamic to it. And then I did some math. So you can actually make $75,000 a year sitting on your ass, and I'm tracking that. Work 2 hours of overtime during the day, during your normal days. You at home, you sitting on your ass. Like 2 hours over is not gonna kill you. You're not gonna have a fucking mental health breakdown. You're not gonna fucking faint. You're not gonna have an aneurysm. If so, you have some underlying conditions. And then every other off day, every other week, work that full off day. And because I'm always in the bonus, you're making $26 an hour. I am, because I put the extra work in. When everybody else was in training, I was studying all the manuals, learning how to do certain special activations, learning about the product. I went above and beyond. You understand? Half of them are gone. They got fired. They couldn't keep up with the metrics. I didn't. I end up being number one at the site. But that's who I am. Everywhere I go, I try to be number one. If y'all want to go and really know about who my character is, go to the 82nd Airborne Division headquarters, and you'll see me, 1995 Paratrooper of the Year for 82nd Airborne Division.
Dang.
I'm going to win no matter what the fuck I do. I'm a winner.
You
That's
got
what
that
I
competitive nature, man.
damn right. I got that high drive. Period.
All I know is every
Sleep,
time you
I
was
can
talking
sleep when
about
I'm
extra
dead.
hours of working, I just got more and more stressed. It's not even me doing the work. He was like, this extra hours and those extra days. I was just like,
extra hours.
Sweating
the
bullets.
hell?
But you know what my son asked me today? He said, Dad, would you buy me a Bugatti? I said, wait, what? He said, will you buy me a Bugatti? Like, nigga ain't got the what the hell? No. And that would be like, what if I made like straight A's and became the smartest kid ever? I said, no, because that's dumb. I'd rather take that kind of money and put 50% of it in a trading account, nigga, and make that shit triple and quadruple. No, I would not at all. But he asked me that question for a reason. He asked me that question because he always with me. He never see me count. He always see me get what if I tell him that he asked me for something and he earned it, I go get it. He don't see me struggle. He don't see me worry. Yeah, I drive a car that's 17 years old. So it's paid for. He knows that there's never he watched some people get some letters put on their fucking shit. He don't see me paying no fucking bills. I don't owe them. They're not there. So me putting the work in got me where I can fucking put some playtime in. I do what the fuck I want to do. Period. So
And
I could go to this defeatist platform over here.
I just want that trip you offered earlier in the podcast.
Who's offering the trip?
John offered a trip.
Where to the Virgin Islands?
Yeah.
We going. You going Guam or Virgin Islands? Where you gonna go?
What's Virgin Islands?
I gotta take you there.
Guam it is.
I think that time wise, when you think about your time, if you think about money and what it does, and I'm not talking about being rich or anything like that, but if you had enough money to pay your bills and you wasn't worried about it and you was 6 months out or a year out from things going wrong and you're in that space, then things become a little different. Because I didn't wind up, I don't think, buying different stuff. It's just that the idea that you don't have to worry about your bills being paid for over a year, and the idea that you're walking around with a knowledge base to basically create some capital for yourself, then that puts you in the position to maybe get behind your passion. It puts you in the position to fund a particular thing. You know, it's like you're a little more comfortable about things. There's being able to pay your bills now is cool, but being able to pay your bills with $50,000 to $100,000 sitting in the bank is just a cooler feeling because you already have your stuff. You got stuff, right? And then, yeah, if you have a dual income, like you're married, right, where you have a dual income, or you have somebody that has your back, that's different. You know, I don't have a dual income. That's not my situation. So I'm good to take care of my situation financially, right? Like CKQ, you're not married, right?
No.
Okay, so you're solo. You got to make sure all your lights and your bills and that stuff stay on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's what I mean. We all build our own. Dr. John, he built his robot, okay? We all building our own robot. And you say, well, what is a robot? So when you go to sleep, they don't take bathroom breaks. They still working. And when you wake up, you see the benefits or the results of that in some type of way. At some point, unless you really love what you're doing, what I say is if you have that entrepreneur spirit, is that you find some way to get away from my physical body, the hour, and the skill set has to be present at the same time to earn. If you
say
get
that
what
again,
I'm saying, that there's the one-to-one-to-one correspondence. In other words, you a plumber, right?
Correct.
Wonderful profession. But if your body has to be at the service call and you have to bring your skill set and you're paid for that time that you're there, that's a one-to-one-to-one correspondence. That's the ratio of one-to-one-to-one. And if any one of those are missing, the other two cannot eat. The other two don't benefit. The idea is Dr. John, he's creating a robot. He's sitting at home. He had his trading desk up on one monitor. He has this call center thing or whatever else he does, making over 50K, 75, whatever that is, he has that coming up. He's getting paid from 2 to 3 sources in one time space. People that get paid from my body being physically there, from my skill set being with my body, and from me getting clocked by the time, they are limited in how they get paid because they cannot get paid for 16 hours or 10 hours of work inside of a 6 physical hour time period.
Correct.
That's what I'm getting at. Right?
Correct. Yeah, and I 100% agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you don't have that, if it's not you, fine. It's fine. Because like I tell my daughter, that's why they made colleges for her. Right? Clueless, don't want to know. You need all those degrees. Okay. So that's cool though, because that's good. But if you're not that person and you already know that you're not because the itch is there, there's something about coming here every day, whether it's to make 50,000, 60 or 100, that just doesn't, satiate or satisfy the palate, right? So there's something else I could do. It might be through YouTube. It might be through a social platform, some podcast or whatever that is, or it might be something else. How can I produce another product or service that kind of brings that in and makes a little more sense? That's kind of what I'm getting at about that.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It definitely makes a lot of sense breaking it down in that aspect, especially the skill, time, and
body, right?
And body.
If they all have to be at a particular location, then where's your earning power? What else can you possibly do? Because it's all bottled up there.
Correct.
It's not
And
scalable.
I want to say that more recently, that's why I say I need more mental health days off, because more recently I've been feeling that effect, especially the closer I've gone to 30. Is kind of like, I want to say it's not so much the idea that because I don't want to jump from a job to another job to another job, but I'm tired of a job. You get what I'm saying? Right. I mean, right now, don't get me wrong. This is paying for me to get through plumbing school. Once 2 more years, I could get my license and I could, own a business of my own. So there's a perk to it, but it's getting tiring. But I still haven't built up anything I still haven't put in enough hours and time into anything else outside of it that I could actually start creating something else from it. If that makes sense.
It does. But if you keep you in this universe we live in, the unique thing about it is we get what we're looking for. That's what we typically get. Concentrated thought, singularity of focus over and over again, meditation, not in the formal way, but just giving it a lot of focus and different things like that, you will typically run into exactly what you're looking for. And that's something about this universe, one of the unique, beautiful things about it. So as long as that energy is there and that forethought is there and your actions support that in some way, you're not here yet, but you're still giving it some attention. You're meeting people that's in that particular field. You're doing these other things. I take, for example, this platform here. 4 or 5 of us on here every week. Sometimes it's 6. Rarely will you find platforms that's not about wealth creation or business or getting rich or getting your money or giving you alternatives, that you're going to find this amount of availability for how you can get money, and we are the examples of it, right? You guys have professions that you do. Me and John show you how to pull it right out of thin air. Okay, you're not going to get this, even if it's on those other panels. They're not going to just come out and do that. They're not going to come out and share that. They're not going to give you the resources and tools. You know, they'll sit there and talk to you about their 10 hours of sleep and why men are different than women, and some from one planet and some from the other. But they don't care that you struggling with your bills, because that's why a lot of men are from really different planets than the woman, because he's making 40 and she's making 120, and he don't understand why that don't really work, right? So, and I get all of that. But because your energy and the way that you move, the way that you ladies move, the way that Dr. John moves, you're going to always run into people that's talking about growth. You're going to always find yourself around progressive thinking people, because that's the path that you walk in. And that's the beautiful thing about it. Now, that's only one part, though. Recognize what you see, recognize who you're around, hearing what's being said. The other part is, how do I identify what I might be able to get from them? What is it that you guys have to offer that I can pull from? We have to offer that you guys can pull from, that'll help you towards that next level. And so that's the other idea of this all, you know.
You guys have anything to say?
You said what, Clement?
Do you guys have anything to say? You and Chris.
I did, but there's a lot.
I remember you had something to say like a little bit while back, but then
I apologize.
A lot of time went by.
No, don't apologize. It was all great what you were saying. I can't remember now. I'm sure it'll come back to me, but basically I was in agreement. I think I was going to tie it back to financial planning somehow. I can't remember what it was, but if I think about it, I'll bring it back up.
Hey, Clement, to her point earlier, I'm gonna just go out. I'm gonna throw it out here on the whim, but I would say that both Danielle and Ebony are both in their femininity real deep right now and relaxed. Are you, Ebony?
Yeah, I'm doing what I want to do.
Are you, Danielle?
Like, I don't know what that means. Somebody explain that.
Because we talking about growth, we talking about earning, and we're both in our masculinity, all three of us, the men on the channel, and we throwing out examples. So it makes the women think. Women are very abstract, and they insert certain words and to turn them into images, and they put themselves and who they want in the image. And when you do it, and when you talking and you doing right, they just get in their femininity.
Understood.
When we had this stuff, we had some discussions about submission. You don't have to say it. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, she'll just do it. That's what I'm talking about. When she see the example of what she imagined you to be, I ain't talking about all the aesthetics. I'm talking about the working part.
Oh, no doubt.
The providing part.
Mm-hmm.
She'll get in her femininity.
Yeah.
You ever heard a woman complain about a nigga making money and paying bills?
No, not until after the relationship was over. hey, Dr. John.
Yeah.
So to the panel, especially the ladies, I'm gonna throw this out there. So I talked to a woman that I still love today. The other day, she called because I stopped taking her calls for a while, you know. And the reason why I did that is because she was with a guy, but she would call me for the so-called mental health days, right? So, I was feeling like I'm sitting up here providing cerebral stimulation so you can enjoy the physicality of being around him.
With that guy. Yeah.
But then I had to move beyond that a couple years ago and basically say, if that's what she's going through and you do still love her, then so what? It's really none of my business, right? So I was cool with it. So I take her calls, we cool. So she called me last week and we talking. And she says, Talk, you know, you be in my head a lot, especially when I'm dealing with my career. I'm trying to finish this master's program and this. I said, what do you mean by that? She says, I watched you do it for years when we was together. I used to envy you. You would get up 2 o'clock in the morning and just have things to do. And then by 6 in the morning, you get ready to lay back down or eat breakfast real quick or whatever. And I watch you do this, and I'm trying to understand why I'm struggling with it. I said, check this out. Okay. The part that you leaving out about you watching me do it is because I knew you had my back. See, because you're where you're at, in hindsight, you're just giving me credit for watching what I did in a separate way of thinking. How would I have been able to do that if I wasn't living in an environment that was conducive for that, where I didn't have to deal with a lot of riffraff, where I didn't have a woman who was envious and just created friction because she's seen how progressive I was, how committed I was, and how focused I was about certain things. You helped provide that for me, and that's why I was successful. The question that you might want to ask yourself now is that your situation? I wouldn't know because it's none of my business.
Whoa!
See.
Okay then, player. Talk, put some of that deep
hold
brain
up. So
stimulation on the end, buddy.
CKQ to show you, Dr. John, to show you that the OG still got it. The phone went kind of quiet. And I said,
Yep.
I can't hear you. She was tearing up.
Of course.
Yes, sir. I bet.
She was tearing up. And she said, I just need to hear that sometime. I said, look, it's always there with you. You know? You just hearing what you already thinking.
Oh, then he told to come back to daddy. Oh, you know? My God.
So a lot of times the relationship ends and people think they were a witness to somebody else's progress. No, if you were there, if you guys were together, your role was so important because how does the person feel comfortable and move and they don't have to fight you for the progress and you're fixing the meals and you're wiping the table off. You're not having company, or if you do, you have it in the other area or whatever that is. And you do that for years. And you think I'm going to sit here and say, all you got to do, remember you used to see me do this? It just start doing that? No. First, we're going to acknowledge your role when I was doing that.
Right.
Because without that, it probably wouldn't have happened.
Right.
See,
and that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the whole point that sums up my entire thought processes since I've been coming on the show. That's why it's so important about picking the right person. That's what they mean when they say behind every successful man is a successful woman. It's too much fucking competition between the two. Stop. Get in your role. If you got a man who's willing to be in his role, do what's going to make you feel comfortable. Because I'm not that dude who say, oh, I don't need you to, I don't really want you to go. No, if that's what you want to do, fucking go do it. But I already know how this is going to play out. You're going to get sick of doing it. And I'm going to be right here waiting when you come back to the house. And you want to just really lay it on down and be here all the time because that's what you really want to do. But if you want to come up, if you got a business idea, let me hear it. You need some tips. You need some support. Do you need me to you need me to start you out? What you need? Because if you got a woman who can hold everything down and in place so that you can do this, Of course, mama gonna get what mama want. What the fuck?
Ain't no question.
Ain't no question about that. All she
no
gotta
doubt
do is
about it.
point.
Ain't no doubt about
All
it.
she gotta do is point and look at me.
You know what I'm saying?
And I'm like, go get it. Well, go get it. Shit, that's her money too.
Yeah.
And I don't mean from a legal perspective, nigga. She earned that fucking money.
Absolutely.
She kept the kids off my ass. She made sure I was fed. Gave me that good loving when I wanted it. You know what I'm saying? She stayed out the way. She let me do what I needed to do. And so when she say, I was thinking about what? That I might like to go, okay, book it. Really? Sure.
Say less.
Say less. And now we gotta go shop. You booked it? Okay, so what you gonna wear? You can't wear that. That's out of season. Let's go get you some stuff. Really? Yeah. See, it's benefits to being a motherfucking housewife to the right motherfucking husband.
Yeah, ain't no question.
Y'all out here trying to motherfucking turn a nigga who ain't a husband into a fucking something that he ain't. So yeah, you feel some kind of way. You got a selfish ass nigga.
Do you think women would be in their role if men was in their role?
Hell yeah. Jump right in that motherfucker. Immediately.
Do you think men would be in there what?
If a man was doing what you're supposed to do, would they be in their role?
If a man was moving the way he needed to, would a woman be in her role?
Oh yeah, I for the most part, I think I mean, like this woman I'm dating now or was dating recently, you know, she a cutie, professional, career orientated, all that, right? I would never marry her or take her seriously though. You know why? She don't need no man. And if you move like you don't need no man, I'm still have fun with you because I like women. But I don't do nothing beyond that. She got it. I don't mean I don't spend money on her. I don't treat and all that. That's not what I'm talking about. I don't take her serious to that next level where we're going to have a deep conversation because I already see you doing you.
Mm-hmm.
See, me, I'm the type of guy I want to do for my woman. When I'm in a real relationship, I want to do for my woman. That's why I do. That's part of why I do what I do. One of the benefits of that is us anyway. You're going to be good. You're going to be gracious. You know, it's my next woman. She don't even know, especially now, all those so-called bills and card notes and all that's gone. You ain't going to have that. We're going to talk about something else. But once I realize she got her and that's what she on, I date within the scope of that.
That is 100% on point. Okay, so basically, building testosterone is partially built through independence. Men sacrifice, I mentioned this earlier, men sacrifice to earn money because money is a tool to gain independence. When women take that same, they're not exclusive. Women also can boost testosterone. We both boost testosterone, but the idea is that women need to boost 10 times, if not more, estrogen than men do. And then men need to produce 10 times more testosterone than women do, right? Like they need a material amount of testosterone and then vice versa for women. Estrogen goes up when you are dependent on somebody. Testosterone goes up when you are independent. It doesn't make any sense for an independent man who's producing all this testosterone to go and find another man in a general sense, right? It doesn't make any sense. But for some reason, women don't get that.
Did you hear that?
It makes sense.
Women don't get that, and they reduce that role of the housewife to being meaningless because the woman's not making money. She's not making money because she doesn't want to be independent because she's dependent on the man who has to be independent. That's why these things go so well together. Like it's literally perfect balance, but women don't get that. And they're so worried about being so independent and they're wondering why men sleep with them and will never wife them. It's because you're every day telling them with your actions that you don't need them. And why would a man sit there while you remind them that you don't need them?
I want to say that I ran into, it's funny that Nika and I, we actually on her podcast, we actually touched a bit on this topic, and I said we don't really care so much about like the degrees that you're gonna get and all that stuff like that when you're in school and gaining for your masters. And she was like, "Oh well, like why would you want a dumb girl?" It's like, no, well, I'm curious on what you guys would say, because in that moment I said, because when we hear that you're going for your masters and da da da, all I hear is how much time I'm not gonna get to spend with you, how much I'm not actually gonna get to see you. So that's my first thought. So that's why it doesn't really mean much to me. And in the end of the day, after all of that stuff, you might still want to be a stay-at-home wife. You still might want me to take care of everything. So you just wasted all that time gaining all of that. And then at the end of the day, you're still not going to use it. So what do you guys think of that? What are your thoughts?
Go ahead, doctor.
I'm going to tell you something. I mean, I told you this story. When I was selling cars,
oh
sold
yes,
the car to a fucking surgeon, right?
Her husband said the
motherfucker
exact
was a cardiothoracic surgeon. And I wouldn't, I didn't go over there with the intent, nigga. I was delivering the car, but she was flirting over the phone. Because by being a surgeon, guess what? She don't really have a lot of time to do, and she don't really want to date her colleagues. You understand what I'm saying? So I show up over there. You feel me? So we end up going out on the lunch date that day. She treated, blah, blah, blah. And we got to talking about medicine, and I was able to say some things that kind of surprised her a little bit. But the more I started going over there, because we got to the point where I done met mom and dad. She Indian. They don't date outside their race too quick. Like it's rare.
Rare.
She was gonna marry outside her race. Dad was not having it. But if he wanted to keep his daughter, he was gonna learn to accept it. So it was what it was. Anyway, moving on. That bothered the fuck out of me. I ain't gonna lie. Now you gotta understand, at this point in my life, I'm making $200 and some $1,000 bringing that home. You understand what I'm telling you? I'm making $250, $260, but I'm bringing home $213, $199, something like that, right? That ain't shit. This woman made 3 times that amount because they rare as fuck. All right. She living over here in Birmingham in Mountain Brook in what looks like a fucking castle. All right, it's huge. And it's just her. She got a big family that comes from India and they stay there and they own gas stations and all this other bullshit, right? Neither here nor there. When she started making, so I'm already feeling like I'm not needed. But she was smart enough to recognize that that might be an issue. She went on fucking leave from the hospital, right? Just so she could come over and take care of me at my place. She spent the whole time with me, showing me that she was wanting to be a wife. But then we got into the conversation about being a doctor. This was after her dad came, and I knew that Indians have a caste system. And they do not break that caste system too tough, period. None of them. You talk to some of the young ones, they say, oh, that's the old school. Well, nigga, I'm 47. All right, this has been some years ago, and I was just about 5 or 6 years older than her. You understand? So, yeah, she was still traditional like that. I knew it was. Can I prove it? No, but she wanted me to go to school and become a doctor. And because of my fucking ego, I was like, you just don't want to accept my ego and my mindset. See what I'm saying? I had a fucking toxic ass mind. That's why I attracted so many toxic ass women. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's what I was putting out. That's what I was getting back, right?
That's your energy. Yeah.
So we broke up. I'm like, you can't accept me for it? No, she says it's not the case. I say, it is the case. Anyway, then years later, because it's my idea, I want to go to medical school, and now I'm scared of what might fucking happen. But if you got somebody on your team, she makes that kind of money, pretty fucking sure she don't mind investing in your black ass because she know you can't work, and she had already said that. So if your life that she knew all about showed up, she can handle it. She could hold you the fuck down, but I couldn't get out from under my own ego way to
Couldn't get
see
out of
the
your own way.
value in that. Because one, I had a need to be needed, and I didn't feel like I was really needed, even though she really allowed me to need, to be needed by me. Like she would go out, not have her, she wouldn't bring her purse, none of that. She let me be the man. You
I
understand?
mean, don't you think that men can only see the value of a woman only after they hit a certain point in their life mentally?
I think so
Me
too.
personally, I don't think men can pinpoint the value of a woman until he's I'm going on a whim here. I'm just going on a tangent, so bear with me. Chime in if you'd like. But I think a man can only see the value of a woman once he's sat on his own for a bit and learned himself.
Oh,
That's the only
absolutely.
time you can see the value of a woman because
Yeah,
you can see.
yeah.
I think we can see it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We can see it, but you don't know how to use the value of a woman until you set on your own self and studied yourself. Not that you can't see it, it fucking scares you. You run from it. Because
I
she
wouldn't
might
say
hold your ass accountable and you ain't ready for all that yet. Like you see it, you know there's some value there, but you scared of it.
I don't know.
See, I know for me, it wasn't until I got out of my own way of seeing what I wanted, what I was about, what I was trying to do.
That's
what was blocking me from seeing what's in you. Okay.
Right.
So if I'm coming on this platform because I got something to say, I'm coming with a voice. I'm not coming with ears, right? I can't hear and I can't get the value from the doctor, from the nurses, from the tax lady, from the moderator, from the host. I can't get it. As soon as I step out of my way, you got my ego, and my super ego. If they're working to do their little thing, now I see how beautiful the platform really is. That same thing applies to women. I can see beauty. Like my friend that I used to date last year, real heavy, we go places, right? She said, Todd, I come out the restaurant, you're talking to the homeless lady. She probably got COVID, hepatitis C, and something else. Don't get in the car till after about 30 seconds after I get in. I say, all right, go ahead, man. Why? Because I see beauty in homeless people, right?
Yes.
I is a crazy person, and I tell people, you laugh and you make fun at that person that's talking to themselves. You're one slight head injury, bumping into the door the wrong way, and you'll be in the parking lot asking people your name, asking people have they seen your mother, and your mother been dead for 20 years. See, so that's why, going back to what you said, CKQ, self, right? Once you lower and you don't have those insecurities about self, you see how beautiful and you see value in everything, everybody,
Correct.
including
and I think
women.
and that's why, you know what, Chris, you had something to say actually.
Yeah, just bouncing off what Talk's saying, it's men are very logical and men take things in steps. It doesn't make sense for a man that doesn't feel like he's ready for a wife and a family to try and take on a wife and a family, knowing that he's not ready and it could fail, right? That's not good for his mental health. It's going to drop his testosterone like crazy. And so it's not that they don't see the value in women. It's just they're not ready for that just yet. It's not valuable to them just yet. It will be a waste of a resource, right? So once it's logical, once it makes sense, you pursue it. But until you've hit that point in your life, you're not going to see, it's not going to add value. If anything, it could take away value. Not that you don't see it,
but it's not really going to do anything to catapult you forward just yet, if that makes sense. And I also want to touch on this. I think in that video, I think you guys are also talking about like a fear of commitment. And I think that ties into that fear of commitment too. So many men are told, oh, you're just afraid of commitment. You're just afraid of commitment. And it's like, not always, in my opinion. I personally think men either A, they don't want commitment with that person. They don't see it yet, but they don't know how to say that, how to communicate that. Or B, it's not that they're afraid of it. They're not ready for it yet. Because so many men say they're afraid of commitment, but you have a lease on your apartment that's 12 months. That's a commitment. You probably own a car. A lot of these men have dogs. You commit to the things that you were ready to commit to. When you knew that you had a salary, an income to pay for that apartment, that house, you took it on when you were ready. If you're not ready for it, you're not going to take it on. And that's just a part of being logical. You're not going to allow yourself to jump into something knowing that it's going to fail.
Yeah, Nick has a question for you, Chris. Do you think men have more value than just being a provider or making the money?
Yeah.
Yes, I think men have an infinite amount of value just as just being human beings. But I do think that men get a lot of their value over time through that thing. So I think, it's kind of like they like the accomplishment. They're driven by that. And so the closer they get to their purpose, the closer they get to whatever accomplishment they have in mind, it fuels them. It's like their confidence can contribute to their value. But I think that they have an infinite amount of value. And I think most men know that they're valuable. But I think it's like knowing it versus believing it, right? You don't believe it till you see it. And I think that process is necessary for them to actually believe that it's there. And same with women too. I think women know that they're valuable. People tell you all the time how valuable you are, how priceless you are. No one can pay for your life, but it still takes certain things for you to feel like you're fulfilled, wherever that may be.
Hey, I think we got 2 doctors in the house, CKQ.
I don't know how all these people keep ending up on my panel, but thank you guys. Okay.
She a whole therapist. I told her, you a whole therapist. You a whole.
I just read too much. And people fascinate me. That's the thing. Like, if you like something, you study it, right?
Yeah.
I decided at a young age, I like men. So I try to learn about them, and I was like, I also like other women in general, so I study them. So,
and I like people, so I study people. I'm a people watcher.
Exactly. Yes.
So
There's nothing better than
behavioral psychology attracted me more so than the mentalist, the subjectiveness of cognitive psychology. I always like the behavior aspect because it tells the truth. Like, you can't lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I saw dudes slap you in the fear that popped up in your eyes, you can't tell me, oh, I would have known you wouldn't, because you would have did it right then. He put fear in your ass. He disrespected you and you did nothing. So now you're not going to tell me you just brave anything. Behavior will tell on you. It'll tell if you love somebody, because love is a verb. And it also tell if you hate somebody. Your actions. You get in these relationships because you don't watch the fucking behavior. You only listen to the words.
So Neek said, what if they are a great person, human being, but doesn't believe in themselves enough to go after their purpose? In my opinion, you should, if you're motivating someone to go after their purpose, it should only be I would say a very short-term thing. If you find yourself constantly having to motivate them, they don't want it. You want it far more for them than they actually want it for themselves. And that's my opinion. What else? What do you guys think of that?
I think sometimes it's good to try to emancipate people, free them. But I agree with you. You never want to get in a position where you become frustrated because you want it more than they say they want it, right? And then all of a sudden, inadvertently, you're chasing after their purpose. You're doing all of the things that they should be excited about doing, you know? So what I learned to do in a relationship, I try to meet people where they at. And if I show a sign, like me and my sister's keeper, we're working on something now. And I said, you know what? As a man, I'm going to show a sign that I'm in. I want to do this with you. And then the reciprocity should be her showing me the excitement and effort that she may want that, you know. So this is how we're going to establish the relationship. And if it doesn't come to fruition, it's fine.
Oh, but it is.
See?
Just pause on that negativity. Just stop right there. When it comes to fruition, pause on me.
This is what I'm looking for. This is my point, right? This is it. This is the life that's being breathed into it. See? So at any indication of any doubt, she cuts it off. He cuts it off. You know, you look for an excuse, they show you, and that's why they say, whatever path you walking towards, people will meet you there. If you're walking towards selling dope or heroin or robbing banks or doing something crazy, there's no shortage of people. They're going to meet you right there. And they're going to have that weaponry, and they're going to come up with a plan, and you're going to be able to do it. See, the path, the energy of that in this universe is not based on what's good and bad. It's based on what you on. And you're going to get what you're truly on. So if a person wants it, God, whoever we want to put it on, Allah, the three lost men, they say, all right, that's what you on. I'm going to put CKQ right in front of your face. Ain't nobody listen to what you said. I got a young brother that's going to sit there and let you articulate your thoughts. Boom. And that's what happens. You know, Talk, you say you don't mind sharing that information about your day trading. I'm going to put a sister right on the panel. I'm going to put another brother on there that's doing something slightly different than you. I'm going to put a tax lady on there so the feds don't come get you. That's how it works.
You're underestimating my power. I can't. I can find somebody to represent you, but your decisions on the front of your tax papers, it says these taxes reflect what you told us. We're not responsible.
But that's the greatness of this universe. I got somebody else that does something that I don't do that I can learn from. I got a sister that might want a little more of it. I got a brother that's going to make sure everybody is just. Everybody plays fair. And there's what they call democracy, which, forget politics, it means access, right? And then we got a sister that did, this is beautiful. Why? Because I was looking for it.
Yeah.
Let's drop one more question in there. I agree, Clement. What should a woman do if they've been waiting for 10 years and 5 kids in? Later, what should the woman do? What the
On a man? Is this for what should a woman like
waiting? Yeah, if she's been pushing that man to go after to pursue his goal. She's been pushing more than he's been pushing himself to pursue that goal. But now it's been 10 years and 5 kids later, and he still hasn't moved towards that goal. What the hell? Emotional damage.
Okay, so
emotional damage. I like that damn shit. My son got me on that. Emotional damage.
Emotional damage. Guys. Who was talking? Chris? I think it was you, right?
Yeah. So now we're specifically talking about a man. So this one's scary because the thing is that what it's looking like, 10 years is a long time. 10 years is a long time. It makes it complicated as a kid.
And 5 kids is a lot of kids.
That's a lot of kids. And so basically what you're looking at is there's only so much you can do. You can't boost him that much because what you're doing is if you keep trying to boost him and push him, and you're the reason why he's moving forward, he's going to be dependent on you. And you don't want a man that's dependent on you, obviously, because that means that he has high estrogen and low testosterone. And now he's addicted to you, literally. And addiction literally means that you have high estrogen, low testosterone, whether it's a man or a woman.
Ooh,
because you're dependent on something to make you feel good, to make you better. That's an addiction. So you can't push him too much, right? So what needs to happen probably is he has to do activities that are going to boost his testosterone, right? He's probably not being productive. Most likely he could be playing video games. He could be pouring so much energy into something that is making him feel better, but isn't actually productive. It's not making him any money. He's not having to sacrifice anything. So personally, I think what a lot of coaches would say is you have to hit him with that, like, it's not an ultimatum. What it is you're saying, I want the best for you. I think you're going to do great things, but I can't live like this.
Is it too late to sub him out as a coach?
Sub him. Put me in, coach.
And then you step away.
But Christian, can I ask you a question?
Step away in what way? Step away how?
Yeah, that one's hard because she has 5 kids.
Yeah,
correct.
You know, and so it sounds like she's getting her master's. This is a question you got to ask 5 kids ago. That's the thing. That's really hard because now you have 6 kids if he's dependent on you. So marriage counseling, I think, is the biggest one. You need marriage counseling. He needs to build his testosterone, you know, because he's not feeling productive for whatever reason. And also you have to ask yourself, are you doing things that are competing with him and depleting him of being able to produce this testosterone? I'm not saying that is your fault, Neek, but one thing that a lot of women do is you're trying so hard to.
It's an example. It's not really her, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
So.
Thank God.
It's not. Yes. Thank God. I lost my train of thought there at the end, but I'll let someone else chime in.
But Christian, let me ask you something. Isn't that one of the reasons why sometimes people or women in situations like that, that's when they turn to themselves and they say, let me get on top of my situation because this dude, I love him and these are his kids, but she see that it's not happening, you know? And a lot of times that's where some women, they will start tearing into the demeanor, the self-esteem of that man who has little or none anyway, right? And it's a weird situation, you know. Now some women might be a little more crafty and finesseful because they love it and they respect the whole, he's the father, he's here, these our kids, and they say, you know what, I think I'm gonna start taking class, I need to improve my education. But even though all of these decisions are being made because he's not making moves, do you see that happening in a lot of ways?
Yeah, because you can't depend on them. So you end up becoming the independent one,
and
right? Because
more testosterone.
You have to produce more testosterone because typically you produce estrogen when you feel safe. If you don't feel safe, you don't produce estrogen. And so if he's not making you feel safe, if you feel as though you have to protect your kids, provide for your children, you cannot produce estrogen in that space. So it's not that you just do it because it's what, you know, makes sense. You're doing it because you have to. Yeah. Because you don't have any other options. Right. There's no one else for you to depend on.
And you become less, and women in that situation don't like having sex with him because you're not producing the sex hormone estrogen. You're producing testosterone.
Too much.
So that's when they start asking why. Right?
Huh?
That's when they start asking why. I'd be like, come on, let's do something. Why? You know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, because the way I'm looking at it, I would just say the woman needs to because I'm going to assume that this situation happened because one, he wasn't doing much, so she was trying to get him to start doing more, and by getting him to start doing more, she started doing everything.
Or or
Okay.
his problems stem from childhood and an abusive situation, and he never gained he was emasculated at one point and never gained that confidence. Because when you go to talk about self-efficacy, when you go to talking about efficacy, that's why it's important. How do you talk to your children? Where do you hit your children, especially your boy children? It don't take a whole lot to make a boy wonder if he a boy or a girl, if he a man or a mouse. I'm telling you. You go to slapping them in their face and you a woman, and if you're a man, you overbearing, like you start punking him all the time, especially when he trying to go through his developmental stage of identity, you're gonna send him down a dark hole. Then you're gonna start wondering why he thinking the way he think, why he won't try nothing. Because nothing is good enough for you. Everything I do, you criticize. So he's gonna, and typically you probably messed up in the earlier developmental stages too. Trust versus mistrust. He already learned to trust because you told him, sit down, stop crying, shut up. Like you weren't adhering to what, when he needed you, then you weren't really there. You always pushed him further away. So he learned to not depend on you for anything that he needed. And he also learned to not depend on people. And he learned to be a solo dolo. So when you solo dolo, you're gonna do what the fuck you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it.
No doubt.
But you also only gonna do shit you feel like you can win at. And if you feel like you can't win at it, you have experienced enough disappointment and enough letdown to where you not gonna let you down or the person who you admire down. So I would just rather stop and quit because I can't do it. I'm scared to fail. It's not gonna be good enough. So I'm not gonna try. Dude need a therapist.
I mean, definitely a therapist, 120%. But just like she said, I have so many friends that have become the man in the relationship. If this keeps happening a lot, would it be too far-fetched to say that the woman needs to actually pull back?
Yes, step away.
Like literally step away and stop trying to have the hand in everything. I mean, I get it, they do have kids, so it's kind of like do what you can to take care of your part and leave his part just to him. If it doesn't get done, it does not get done.
And if I was the coach, that's what I would suggest. Like I would suggest her go to him and say, look, I can't do this anymore. I want to quit. I'm tired of working. I'm putting in my 2 weeks notice. Maybe she didn't do that. But that's what I'm gonna tell him and make his ass immediately start producing some testosterone.
Yeah, problem solving. Give him a problem that needs to be solved. Like so many women in that position, they just do it, right? And the best example that I got from my dad, we were in North Carolina, and my grandma asked my dad to take the trash out. And my dad said, "Oh, I'll do it in a minute." He was trading, I think he was day trading. He said, I'll do this. I'll do it in a minute. Oh shit! And my grandma, I think like not even 2 minutes went by, and she was like, "Oh, I'll just do it myself," and she did it. Which to some people, that's just, oh, she just took out the trash. She thought it would be easier for her. No, the worst thing that you can do is do it for the man, because now he thinks, well, you can do it yourself. So now you do it. And he puts him in this like mindset of conserving energy. And this can go as big as you want the man to work, but he's not working. So you keep working. But what you're doing is you're saying, I'm going to keep working so he never has to struggle. So why should he? It doesn't make any logical sense for him to do what you're already doing. Right? You're not pushing him past that wall.
So why should I have to? Yeah.
Exactly. And so what John's saying, step away, have you put in those 2 weeks? Have you put him in a position where he has to push himself, where he has to challenge himself to just do it? Because if you keep doing it for him, he's dependent on you. And what person in the right mind is going to do something themselves when the easier way is just have you do it, and they can save their energy and chill.
And so let me ask the married people on this panel, or anybody who has been married. So I'm thinking that that's one of the pros of a marriage, right? Like one of the pros of a marriage, I'm thinking for many, not all, but for many, is that we know we're not just together and we're in love, but we're kind of in this contract together. And like one of us can't fail and one of us can't be successful because it's both of us, you know? So let's take that same scenario under a marriage setting. Would the conversation be different then? Would the tactic or the strategy? Because in a marriage, and I'm just surmising this, my wife or me, I would be able to say, we can't go on like this. Not you need to do something.
I mean, I was thinking of this in the marriage sense, but even in a marriage, the way I'm thinking about it, again, I'm not married. This is the way I'm thinking about it. You would still need to be a whole mental person.
Okay.
You as a singular person still need to be well within that relationship,
Mhm.
because that relationship is still both of you coming in well to make that relationship work. I think. But Danielle, what do you think?
What was the question?
Who was asking?
When it comes to mentally helping each other in a relationship, in a marriage, is there any way you can say, listen, you got to deal with that on your own, or does it always have to be done together?
Right. Yeah.
Why I gotta help him with his problems? If he haven't came to me for help, what am I supposed to be doing? I'm the one who come with problems. I'm the one who come complaining. He keep his problems to himself. So I mean, I check on him and ask him how he doing mentally and how he feeling and all of that. But
If he's not coming to you, then no. Then there's no reason to try to seek it
yeah,
out.
I'm not about to beat him and make him feel like he having a mental issue if he telling me he not. If he said he okay, then he okay. I mean, if he was having an issue, and he asked for some help, I would try to help. And that's not even just marriage. That's any of y'all on this panel. That's anybody who I know. If you having an issue and you needing some help and you come to me, the humanity in me is gonna help you. Shit, my license said I have to help you.
Yeah, you have to help. Yeah.
So no, I mean, for me, it don't matter about my relationship status with you.
Okay. So boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, it's all the same. It's you have to be mentally well yourself before you can
what?
Before you can step into that relationship with another person. I guess.
I don't know
right?
if I would say that. Because I mean, you can have some mental problems that you weren't even aware of until you got into a relationship. So I don't have no expectation, like nothing. Like I said, if you come to me with a problem, I'm gonna help you. Whether you my friend, my man, my family, your relationship title to me doesn't matter. Whether you were whole or broken when I met you doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing that matters to me is what you're saying to me at the moment. So I don't care if you was a whole person when we started dating or got married. If you're having an issue now, then we gonna handle that.
Okay.
To tell a person that they need to be whole to be in a relationship, nobody would be in a relationship.
That's fair. I guess I didn't phrase it correctly. We're going to take the situation that Neek placed in front of us. The fact that she was, this woman was 5 kids, 10 years of her pushing this guy to go towards something that, in my opinion, it doesn't seem like he wants as bad as she wants for him.
When I read that, I was wondering, she said, what should a woman do if they've been waiting 10 years and five kids in? What should a woman do? What are you waiting for? That's for me. That's not a complete question to give you no advice on. I got questions. What's your question?
I think the question was,
if a person doesn't believe, if you don't believe in yourself, it's nothing I could do for you. And so I wouldn't even got to that other part.
That's believing in yourself. Yourself. Like, can't nobody believe in you more so. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't. It's like what Talk said. You come to me, say, yo, I want to learn how to trade. All right, bet. But then every time I'm trying to, like, I'm not going to keep checking on you. You know what I'm saying? Because when I was learning, didn't nobody have to fucking check on me.
Hell no.
Didn't nobody have to fucking tell me to stay up to 4 and 5 learning this damn terminology.
Nobody.
Trying to find out how to apply it, watching examples, watching videos, learning how to read properly, read the index, how to properly analyze the analytics and learn what these fucking symbols mean, and how to use Bollinger Bands, and how to use now Fibonacci, or how to even enter a trade using the Fibonacci, or, you know, listen to the different theories about the Fibonacci. You understand? Learning the fucking formula and that goes along with using the Fibonacci. Didn't nobody have to tell me to do that shit. I did it because I wanted that motherfucking money. Period. That's what I wanted. I wanted that freedom. It was my ticket to freedom. It was a fucking lottery ticket, and I controlled the winning fucking numbers every fucking time I trade. Every time I trade, I am in control of my destiny. So you ain't got to come to me. I mean, I ain't have to go to no fucking body and I'm so sleepy. Is there any way that fuck that? Yeah, I was sleepy. I just dealt with it. Fuck it. I can sleep when I'm dead. Don't nothing come to a sleeping man but a dream. I can sleep when I'm dead. Fuck some sleep. So you can't want this shit, and I won't want it. I'm telling you, I will not want it. Because I'll get to fucking thinking like, you know, I'm fucking with you, and I could be looking at what fucking stocks I can go buy and get us. I'm missing some shit. Fucking around with you, and you ain't really want to learn this shit. That's the way I'm telling you how I am. That's the way I would be. If you ain't serious about it, I'm going to be thinking that you costing me money.
And I think people are that way about things that excite them and things that they want. I can remember as a shorty, like, I wanted like to go shop and clothes shop. My parents was poor, right? So I was like, nobody had to show me how to go steal them clothes out the spot, man.
You figured that shit out.
You know what I mean? Like, I remember doing that. You know, I didn't continue to do it, but I remember doing that. It's like it's anything. When women were getting their hair done and before they could buy hair and all of these advancements in technology, nobody was showing women after they got their hair done how to sleep a particular way that might have destroyed their spinal cord 6 years later, so that their hair wouldn't get messed up overnight. They just did it. They just did it. They found a way and you did it. I think people put energy where they want it. Now, people with low self-esteem and they can't free themselves or open up in this particular case, sure, you're going to get behind it, but how much incentive is the person or the partner going to have to keep getting behind that person? Something has to give. Either the wife or the husband has to accept that this is where we are and this is just what it is, and I appreciate the green grass and the smell of oxygen every day, so we good. Or there's something's going to give. You just won't keep going like that. And then you'll have those lessons learned and you'll have those takeaways, and then you'll benefit in the next relationship, because I always think that by default, the new relationship should benefit from the mistakes made in the past relationship. That's what I'll be thinking. Like, you know, you all those takeaways, the next person think you're wonderful. Why? Because you didn't clean yourself up. You good. You know what to say, what not to say. You know, sometimes when women speak, they just want to be heard. They're not looking for a solution. So you don't have to be Captain Fix It all the time, you know? So all of these things. But here's the other thing I was going to say, CKQ. Success is not designed for everybody. Because the only reason why success exists as a word is because we have this term called failure. That's the contrast. That's the antithesis. That's the effort. That's where we coming from trying to get to.
Bars.
Well said. That was well said.
I want to go back to what we were saying about this whole situation and her stepping away and letting him, well, obviously saying to him, listen, I'm going to have to step away. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep this up. And if he actually starts stepping up, there needs to be some rewarding of his ego, in my opinion.
I'm just trying to figure out how much stepping up he got to do, because
if he starts making,
is he not doing more? Because he got to be doing at least enough. They got 5 kids.
Yeah,
like,
that's a
so
lot.
she been supporting these kids this whole time. That's come out. I'm like, what? That's. I still have more questions, because it's like, what are you waiting on him to do? Are you waiting for him to start a business? Are you waiting for him to get a promotion? Are you waiting for him to be able to cover all the bills? What is it that you're waiting for?
I'm going to assume
Because all those scenarios would have completely different answers.
Or I'm
That's
going
a great
to, all
question.
it really makes sense would be a business, because a promotion at work, like, you got to motivate your man to
If
get
you
a
waiting on him to start a business, then do his job not pay enough to support y'all living habits right now? You just wanting more?
And that's
But
great.
if that's the case, then you need to just understand that that's probably not what he want to do. Everybody
I
not a
know.
boss. Maybe he's just an employee.
I got the answer.
Oh,
You want to know what the answer is?
Let's hear it.
There are fucking roles. And I think the more we're learning, we're seeing the empiricy surrounding this, to where we have come on here and argued this point, but we have come full circle, and it has been determined this day that there are roles. And the reason that so many of her friends are falling into the role of the man is because they cannot be in the role of the woman, and they want to. That's why she wants to know what to do after 10 years and 5 kids. It's not that he's not doing enough with them working. He can't do enough for her not to fucking work. That's the problem.
Oh, if that's the only problem, I mean, that don't sound like a big problem.
He's got to do more because she wants to do way less. Together, they're good. But she wants to remove herself from that situation. Whether she wants to
then stop doing it.
But that's the fucking
man. That's what I thought.
It's more of a mental thing on her point. Then go ahead.
No,
Chris.
it's more she wants to be in her natural fucking role as being a woman.
So now the question, so there's still more questions. So now the question is, what type of lifestyle are they living? Because the thing is that he's not going to make $1 million overnight to cover 5 kids. What is she willing to give up to get what she wants? Is she willing to have 2 of her kids share a room, cut down on certain expenses? Is she willing to leave Netflix? Is she willing to leave Spotify so he can cover the house and all this so she doesn't work anymore? So now we're getting into, what is she willing to give up? If she wants to stay with this man, what is she willing to give up to get the life that she wants? Because at this point, it's a partnership. They have to make these decisions together. There's no, she cannot enter into her femininity. It's whether or not she's willing to give up certain things to allow him for who he is right now to take on that role. Stop marrying people for who you want them to be and marrying them for who they are today. If you don't like who they are today, then you should have gotten married to them.
When they show you,
I'm not saying that he can't progress forward, but the thing is, what are you willing to give up? What are you willing to sacrifice so you can have the life that you want? Stop paying certain bills and tell him, I can't do it. I'm tired. I need you. Help me solve this problem. Tell me to help me solve this problem, and he'll do it. But you have to let him. And you have to be willing to sacrifice. If he says, well, we can't have this, I can pull this together in 5 months. We can have Spotify back and Netflix back in 5 months. Are you willing to wait the 5 months?
But here, I want to address this one.
One of my friends ended up kicking the man out of the house she owned and is now raising 2 boys by herself.
But
Was he
she
not
always
working
been
at all?
raising them 2 boys by herself. Because if she listen, have you ever thrown? Let me ask you something. What's something that you use a lot, Clement, at your job or whatever? What is something that you use a lot and brings great value to make your life easy? What is it?
Pliers.
Would you go throw them away?
No, that'd be dumb.
But would you buy some better ones?
Buy better ones? Yeah, of course.
Okay, but you wouldn't throw those away.
No.
Why?
Because they still have use.
And
you need them.
Yeah.
So they so they make your life easier because you have them.
Yes.
So if she put this motherfucker out, it's because he didn't make her life easier because he's there. He made her life worse because he was there. So if the pliers you had always fell apart when you needed them the fucking most, would you replace them?
I still wouldn't throw them away.
But if they fell apart every time you needed them, would you replace them? And you'd be willing to do, you'll find a different solution. Meaning every time the job that they're supposed to do, you couldn't undo the fucking pipe or whatever because they just fell apart in your hand, and you have to put them back together and then fall apart in your hand again. How long would you keep them pliers before you replace them?
I get where you're going.
Yeah.
It's a little hard for me to agree with that. Just because where is her accountability in this though?
If she put him out, there was a reason she put him out. She just didn't put him out because he was doing what he was supposed to do, and she just kicked him out in the damn street. She put him out because she kept having to put his ass back together again. That's why she put him out.
I think we need more context because I think we know deep down that's not always the case. Women don't always have the best reason for putting men out. Like I promise you, if she didn't own that house, she can't put him out because she would lose everything. If she had to depend on him,
they need to come on the
would
panel.
she have? Yeah, we need more context. Like if he's not working,
but see, I have the context, so I know the.
So was he not working at all? Was he not working at all?
Yeah, that's their situation.
Well, I feel like she's saying a lot. We know the number of kids.
I
The
wish
man
she would come on the
employed.
panel. No, there's different friends. That one particular friend, I know the situation. I know the context surrounding.
So with the two
I
kids,
sure wish she would come up.
was the man employed? That's the only question I have. Was he employed?
So this is a real scenario?
Oh hell yeah, it's real. It's real as hell.
These are some
We
real
spent 6 hours one night talking about this one. I wish she'd come up here.
So are these the average guys that I thought? Is this what average is?
Nah, this one right here is below average.
Oh, it's below average.
Yeah, you below average.
She got a house.
We said average can pay their bills, bro.
Oh my bad, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes, he's employed.
CKQ, I got a question for you.
Of course.
Nick, come up on the panel.
Your friends in your circle or
Mhm.
other guys that you know, your peers, right? But black males, right?
Mhm.
How many of them have their own place?
All of them.
And see, in other circles, men are living with women. They're not on a lease. It's the woman's house.
10 jobs in a year.
They're living with their mothers, you know.
Yeah.
See, it's different. Like, it's just
Yeah,
different.
to me that's crazy because I mean, I don't know, like those people I slowly started weeding those people out of my life. So I made my friends group people that were moving in a certain direction, in an upward direction.
Right.
Or either that or I could sit and have these kinds of conversation with where I'm thinking like, okay, I'm not sure how I want to move in my life. And we can have, like we're on the same mental level. Not to say like there's dumber people, but if they're not seeing eye to eye with me on how I would like to see my life move, or if I try to talk about something deep and they want to make jokes about it, then I'm like, all right, cool. Like I see that that's where I could keep you as a friend. Like you're the surface level person. You know, like I can't take you
Go
serious.
to the club, friend.
Exactly. And
Hang
then
out at a
I'm not
party.
even a club person, so like there we go. That's a friend gone right there. You know, it's
Yeah.
hey, it is what it is. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of people that I keep in my life, they're on the straight
On
and
their
narrow.
job.
Yeah, they've got a job. They've got their 401ks, which is why I thought it was an average thing.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah, like
He said this shit. I was like,
I thought that was
That was
listen.
the
I thought it
average
was
thing.
No,
common knowledge,
no.
average
hell
thing.
no.
With my
It's like
coworkers, we
them
talk
blood
about
out of a
how much
turnip
they're
getting a
putting into
motherfucker to
our
invest in
401k, how like the different cryptos, the different stocks. Like these are common. I thought average conversations, but I'm just starting to see that. You know,
You walk up to somebody and ask them, say, hey, do you know what a 401k is? A
Don't
lot
do
of
that.
people don't even know what it is.
Like they'll tell you what they think you're supposed to do, but they don't really know what it is, like how it works.
Why was she
Like,
with
for
this
real.
dude if he couldn't even write a damn resume?
My question is, why is she writing them? Stop writing them.
well, I mean, listen, my ex helped me write my resume, so
She helped him get
My
every
partner helps me
job,
write my resume. The difference between
wrote his
helping somebody write a
resumes,
resume and
researched
writing
the
them for
jobs.
them.
She told us it was like she was his mom. No, she was doing more for him than I would do for my sons. What the fuck is you
But this
talking about?
nigga stayed in his estrogen and she stayed in her testosterone.
Exactly.
I wouldn't even do all that for my sons. I'm helping you write your resume in high school because that's when you start to learn how to do that.
He once had 10 jobs and was he running a temp agency?
Brett, he was only there long enough to get one check. One check.
That's more than I've had my whole life. My whole entire life, I haven't had 10 jobs yet.
But to push back at that, right?
Uh-huh.
Why are you choosing a man that is not fucking marketable?
Is that a sound effect?
That's him wearing his hand.
Oh, that's actually John doing that. Dr. John, that's you actually doing that?
Yeah,
that's real life sound effect.
Like, why? Like, what? This where you know where this comes from? This shit comes from that stupid ass. Well, I don't judge. You a lie. You do judge. You judge, and you should. You have to judge. Use your perception. These things are part of your fucking cognitive skills. That's what your cognition consists of. Judgment and perception.
That's
Two
right.
of the main fucking attributes of a damn cognitive mind. That's what it's there for.
How old was she when they started dating? Was she like 17 or something?
Or 7, maybe 10, and she committed to him too soon.
You like that book, Todd?
Yeah, Viktor Frankl.
Hell yeah, that's a really good book.
Yeah.
That's a good book. A Man's Search for Meaning.
Yeah.
That's a good
It says in there, it's a quote in there from Nietzsche. He says, once you know your why, that's it. Your how will come to you.
Yes. All you gotta know is your why.
You just gotta know your why.
The rest will come to you. But these women are picking men who don't know shit. They why, who, when, or where. But you expecting to turn a non-motivated blind man into a fucking earner. No. He would be an earner when he fucking met you. He would.
Exactly.
I don't want to just, you can't judge a book by its cover. This the inside of the book. This is the fucking context of this book.
Yeah.
Ain't no damn cover, nigga. This is him. This is who the fuck he is.
And do you know most
You
covers
just
of the
don't
book,
believe
they
it.
actually still have a summary on that motherfucker though.
Yeah, and that's what they looking for, the damn
On
summary.
the back of that book, it's a summary on there telling you about what's inside that book.
Yeah, and you can skip
So,
that.
and that's on the cover.
And they opening up the book to the heart. And you
CKQ,
just don't
somebody
believe.
gave me this book as a gift last week.
What's the title of it?
Outwitting the Devil. I've heard a
That
lot
Daniel
of
Stagg
good
school,
things
he went
about
to
that
the
book.
army. She
By
went to
Napoleon
college. They got back
Hill.
together when-
Napoleon Hill. What's Think
That's
and Grow
around
Rich?
30 years old.
I said 30. I don't know if anyone heard me, but I said 30. I knew it.
Think and Grow Rich, right? He wrote.
Yeah, it says
Napoleon
Think
Hill.
and Grow Rich.
Yep. And I got that
Napoleon
book.
Hill. I got
So
that book.
this is
Yep.
yeah, Outwitting the Devil. So the devil is ourselves, according to what I've been reading so far.
She must have been real lonely when she met him.
Oh, what that?
Must
There's
have not
tea,
had
guys.
no type of
We got tea. We got tea.
prospects.
One
They
thing I
did.
wonder is,
He went to army. She went to college. They got back together when they were around
30.
30 years old.
They was
Oh, so
like
this was
high
more of like
school
a
sweethearts.
I'm getting older. I need to find someone.
Nah, not at 30, my nigga. That's 40. That's the 40-year-old speech. That's the 40.
Dated in high school.
not for women.
Yeah, not
Well,
for women.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's 30.
Yeah,
That's why I said she must have been super desperate and not having no prospects. Because
No, it's not desperation. Look, this is what I wonder. I wonder, number one, who her parents are. If this young woman was raised by a single mother who was independent, provided for her family, it makes complete sense why she's here. Even if she wasn't a
She's
single
gonna be
mother.
attracted to a man that's not gonna let her move outside of that role.
Yes. Basically, so what's happening is, and what people don't understand about the importance of roles as a child, how that affects your children so much.
I swear.
If you're watching a mother that's very aggressive, very masculine, very competitive, providing for the family, and you're watching a father, he's either absent, so he's not around at all, or if he is there, he's extremely passive. Yeah, you're going to grow up to be an overly competitive woman. High testosterone. You don't know anything else. Low estrogen, and you're going to latch on to a man that has high estrogen, low testosterone. He's dependent on you because you're so independent that you're letting him, because you're feeding off of his dependence.
This is crazy.
And you don't realize that he's boosting your testosterone. You're so used to being in this mindset that you don't realize that there's happiness on the other side of the bridge because you don't know your own body. That's the issue with so many women. And for some reason, we don't understand the impact that these households have on children years later. This young man is a product of a single mother. She's probably the product of a single mother, most likely, or a mother that is extremely. Sad part is, go ahead and read it, Clement.
Whoa, that was left field. That was left field. Sad part is, a year after she put him out, he died, and it's still under investigation. I feel for the boys.
I'm asking for a lawyer right now. Just delete everything I said so far.
Yo,
we're gonna be on
Man,
96
this dude
hours.
was unhealthy and everything else. It's not surprising that he died. It's surprising if a healthy man died. This man was damn near diabetic, high blood pressure. I mean, I'm surprised he's
But
still
she
living.
gave him 2 kids,
COVID
right?
killed him.
Damn.
She gave him
She
2
missed
kids.
her come up. She didn't even have no insurance on him, huh?
I don't think the nigga could
I don't think they were
qualify for
married.
insurance.
No,
They weren't even married.
listen. I don't care what my husband can afford. I can afford insurance on his ass.
No, I'm talking about qualified health wise. They don't just insure every damn body. You can get a $10,000 policy on and be almost dead already, but you go to talking about them half a meals, you finna go to a doctor. we
They gonna
need
want some blood.
we need
They
a
gonna want you to
metabolic panel,
breathe.
please. Please let me get a metabolic panel. We need an HIV test. We need
You
all
might
of
have
it.
to pay a lot, but you can still get them.
Yo, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. 3-4
That's
months.
wild.
If
That was a-
only she would have knew, all she needed to do is pay that thing for a year.
Hey, CKQ, I just want to throw a suggestion out there sometime in the future, right?
Yep.
Can you draw up some questions about how we can increase our earnings power?
Okay.
Since we still in January.
How we can increase our earnings power.
February. I apologize. Yeah, February. Yeah, how we can increase our earnings power.
It's February already?
Yeah.
It's February already.
Oh,
February 8th.
hey, when is the tax deadline?
April
I think
15th.
it's April the 15th, ain't it?
Or what do you
I
file?
do it. I do them. I pay them motherfuckers April the 14th. What else?
You can't be my client, John.
She gave you the debts there, bro.
Oh my gosh. The April 15th. Well, I guess April 14th is okay. It's okay. But the April 15th.
Tack, what kind of
11:59 client.
What kind of questions are you looking for?
Just some examples or how realistic it is for people to understand strategies or techniques to increase their earnings power. So example would be if you are currently making $60,000 a year in the medical field.
Okay.
It's February 2022. Within the next 12 months to 3 years, still in that field, how do you see yourself increasing your earnings power without the typical merit pay or the cost of living increase or them coming to inform you about it? I'm not talking about them informing you or the group.
You talking about
or
being
everybody.
proactive and
There
making
you
your
go.
own
There you go. What can you do? And you know, what actions can you take? Because a lot of times we are where we are in proportion to what we've put into situations. And that could, you know, not all the times, but I'm just talking Bell's curve, 68% of that standard deviation, that normal distribution. So when people only read what's necessary and they only do what's necessary and that stuff, that's why you are where you are a lot of times, you know. And you know, it's like I was telling my nephews one time, because they so proud to say they work at Amazon, but you're just stuffing air plastics into boxes, right? So I never understand that. I said, look, why they don't catch you hanging out over there in the marketing department or the technology department? Why instead of trying to sleep with them girls that work at Amazon and stuffing bags too, you don't slide over there or ask the supervisor or somebody that you're willing to volunteer and help out in some other area so that, you know, you may be able to get an opportunity there, you know. And you know, they be like, yeah, Uncle Tack, I'll be thinking about that. That's the weed that's got you thinking about it. I'm talking about in your sober mind, like actually do it. Because what'll happen is you wind up meeting human beings that's looking to help somebody. See, that's what people gotta understand. People will run right up to you to help you if they just catch you walking that way. But if you don't even go over there and ask and try to expose yourself or whatever, you know, it could be an issue. So just along those lines of what can you do or what do you plan to do as the individual to make that happen? And the reason why I say that, I used to do some work somewhere. I was making $45,000 a year, and then within 3 years I was making 95. You know, and so that was like a $50,000 increase over 3 years. Okay. Now you might say, well, Talk, how did you do that? Well, you know, when you work at certain places, they have all these spreadsheets flying around and it's keeping track of something, right? What I did was I took the spreadsheet and I turned it into an Access database so that it would be centralized and everybody would be looking at the same information. And they found that so valuable, they gave me another position, right? They created a position, right? And then after that, I took that database and then I said, well, you guys have a website. Let's just pay for it to be a web service so that it could be available through the web. And then that was another 20-some $1,000 increase. Now, the job didn't exist. There was nobody that said they did it. And there was nothing particularly unique about me doing it. I got paid because I was able to solve a problem and it had a use case. And they found that as being valuable. Now, I quit that job later on, but I'm just telling you what happened. So that's along those lines.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that goes along the same, your mindset.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And that's your mindset. And people need to understand, you know, and people need to hear to get involved in that conversation, get involved in that particular dialect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because even though, I didn't create no $90,000 job for myself, but as a young boy, I did not look at being a bagger at a not even a full-blown franchise store as like this is just a job.
Mm-hmm.
No. I used to hang out in the produce department with Roscoe. But I was getting Roscoe to show me what was he looking for when he pulled this off.
That's what
Why
I'm
did he
saying.
pull that off? Why did you put this back up here? Well, Roscoe was a heavyset dude. Roscoe had a heart attack, right? Well, the store manager was talking about hiring, bringing. I said, let me work over there.
Mm-hmm.
Roscoe taught me everything. Roscoe was real good. So because I said, he said, you been talking to him? I was like, yeah, I go over there every day and help him for like 2 hours. How long you been doing it? For 6 months. Ever since I've been here, I like Roscoe. Okay, good. I did a good job. So I went from $3.75 an hour. You gotta understand, it's back in fucking 1990, right? To $7.20 an hour. Okay, back in 1997, gas was like not even $1. So I was getting some good checks. That's a lot of money. Hell, minimum wage right now is like $7.50, something like that.
Nah, it's higher than that. I think
Not,
they raised it up
in
to
Alabama.
12,
It ain't.
like that.
Nah, not in Alabama. It ain't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no. So, long story short, they made me the produce manager, and I stayed there until, anytime the whole school was out. Roscoe came back after he, recovered. But when Roscoe moved on to a different store to become the store manager, the job was available to me on a permanent basis.
Yeah.
People look to try to move outside of where they at instead of trying to move up where you are.
Agreed.
Like, well, I don't want to do this. I'm going to school to be a nurse. Okay. I can go work at a hospital. Yep. Or you could go to the fucking CEO and ask them what do they think about having a nurse there for people that work there. And you can negotiate your fucking salary and live like a fucking king. Because they are paying you essentially just to be there. They know who you are. You have the proper license. You can do it. And it's your idea.
The way I said to my buddy was, instead of looking for where the grass is greener, why don't you just start watering the grass on your lawn?
Exactly. That's the same. That's the concept. Be where you are. Be where you are. People like, well, what you gonna do when once you finish and you get your, I said, I'm gonna teach. Well, you gonna leave? Nah, I'm gonna teach from the house. What the fuck you mean? Nah, I ain't gonna quit. I ain't gonna quit the job.
Technology, man. Yeah.
I'm gonna teach from the house. But then what about? I said I'm gonna try to move up in the company. I don't plan on being on the fucking phone. I plan on being teaching people what the fuck I did. I happen to be number one every month in and month out. So I'm pretty sure they find value in that and would like they already give me to teach other people. So why don't I allow them to teach this skill while I teach these other skills, how to do proper research, how to do APA format, this and all this, and trade, and I never leave the house. What's wrong with that?
You need some sun. That's what's wrong with that.
What you say, my sister Skeeper?
I said you need some sun. That's what's wrong with that.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, I do leave the house, but you know what I mean.
CKQ, I got a question for you.
Sure.
This is for you.
Okay.
Right now, you don't have any rent or mortgage to pay, right?
I have rent.
You have rent, okay. So is your rent over $1,000 a month?
Yeah.
Is it over $1,500 a month?
No.
Okay. So let's leave it at $1,500. Okay. Let's just say it's $1,500. So $1,500 a month. So you say 3 into that, right? That's $50 a day. So if you were in a situation where you could just increase your earnings by $50 a day, that would just essentially take care of your rent, right?
Correct.
See, this is what I'm saying. Like, I like using examples like that just to make it realistic to people. Because
Yeah.
then it doesn't become a lot of money if you go through the drive-through and spend $13 at McDonald's, and then you go to Starbucks, not you, and buy a $7 coffee, and then you go around there and pay for parking, and then, well, you're spending $50 a day anyway.
Man, I be adding that shit up. Like, that's too much.
You know. Now, me and Dr. John talked about it a week ago on the last one, and we flush money out because probably our lifestyle allows us to just flush money out, because I don't live a $200 a day lifestyle, but I can throw $50 to $75 a day away, right? It's not a whole lot to do that, right? But I'm just saying, when people bear down on themselves, and especially if it's a couple, if it's two people agreeing on that, there's so much to be given where you can almost give yourself a raise just by certain sacrifices and changes practices in the way that we live or the choices we make. You can just literally give yourself a raise, you know. Just committing to something as simple as fixing a bag lunch, taking it to work, instead of going around the corner spending $13 and it wipes out one of your hours or half an hour of you working that day or something. So that's why I'm so interested in that.
Exactly. That's one of the first things that I think most financial planners will tell their clients is cut your expenses, because you can't make more money overnight. You're not going to be able to make $1,000 more overnight, but you can definitely cut your expenses.
Yeah.
And those changes are so simple, and people think that it has to be huge jumps, even when it comes to credit. This one blew my mind. So your credit score, so many people out of college especially, their credit score is somewhere between like 500 and 650, right? Which is a fairly poor credit score, very poor credit score. All it takes is, if you can get a credit card, typically you have to put money down. You put $200 down, you get a credit card, right? Let's say you are able to get a certain line of credit, let's say $1,000. You take one bill that you have to pay for no matter what. No matter what happens, is a bill that you always paid for and that you know that you will always have in the future. Typically, this is water, gas, electric, or like fuel for your car. So like gas for your house, bill for your car, two separate bills. You put one of those bills on a credit card and you pay it off in full every month. You'll build your credit
To increase your credit.
instantly. Not instantly, but 6 months to a year, you've gone up at least 50 points, 100 points. And that's all it takes. But people think that it has to be something crazy. They have to buy a house and pay the house off. It's like, no, you're not ready for that yet. Get what you can get a credit card. Don't go crazy. Don't blow it.
Wrencher.
A bill.
Amy Rancher.
I said it's another wrencher.
Another wrencher.
I mean, that quick, in a minute and a half, she provided some actionable items, some executables that somebody could just put to practice. And that's the idea. It's almost like the execution is the challenge, you know? And she just gave it up. She just was like, you do this.
Real quick, sorry, let me get this to Jamie Rencher. The link is right at the top of the chat box, but we're actually going to be closing down the live because we're nearing the 4-hour mark, and some of us still have to work after all this. Not yet, right?
All of us have to work.
So it's been a great conversation, guys. As always, I always feel like I learned a lot when I come on these panels, a lot. And I will get you that list, Tack, for sure.
Man.
I try to come up with at least 5 things.
And I apologize if I'm spamming y'all with my videos, you know what I mean? But
No. Listen,
just in case you want to see them, you know.
Don't apologize about it, man. Like that's education. So I appreciate it. I appreciate it. But other than that, we're gonna close out like we usually do. We got Chris.
Hi everyone, my name is Chris. I have a channel called The Blooming Ebony where we talk about femininity, masculinity, and general overall growth.
And I also have an Instagram at The Blooming Ebony. Feel free to follow me on there as well. And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to CKQ Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed the show.
Thank you.
We got Tack.
Hey, my name is Tack Williams, the host and creator of the Examine Life podcast. I play a day trader Monday through Fridays, though. And you can check me out on my YouTube channel, TAK. Just skip a space, Williams, and you'll find me there. I just want to say I always appreciate CKQ's platform. I'm telling you guys, subscribe. If you want to learn something and find solutions and actually actionable items, executables, things that you can do, come here. But if you're just looking to identify with what's wrong, go everywhere else.
Damn. And then we got John.
What's up, everybody? Black Wall Street Trading LLC, because that is what I do. But you can find me there on the podcast. I mean, not the podcast, but you can find me there on YouTube, or you can find me on IG at behavioral_consultant. So just hit me up.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an amazing show, and a lot of great gems were dropped in this show. We went over a couple different scenarios. We talked on the average man and woman, what it takes for that mindset, what it takes to get out of that mindset. And we even touched on a lot of topics on, being in bad situations, how to possibly get yourself out of that, as well as help yourself out with your finances. Definitely a good watch. If you have time, rewatch it again. You're definitely going to get a lot out of it. But until then, it's been fun. It's been great. And we will see you next week. Peace.
If we're doing everything right, I think we should be vetting our wives, like go to their parents, go to their fathers.
They know they shouldn't have let me start speaking my mind in the booth. Start speaking the truth. Might get shot.
I think you're just saying, okay, actions have consequences, and I'm not going to support this person's actions. Like, you don't have to cancel them and say, like, I hate you.
Innocent lives have to die.
I. But the whole thing is men are I also. That man was on the other side doing the exact same thing, and his decision with his eyes was to walk away.
Inside your soul.
Now we can paint the perfect picture without belittling each other. Because under God's system,
we are equipped to handle that responsibility. But not every man is fit to handle that responsibility.
I done seen Flip, Michigan,
and it's just being
cities. They pissing in project buildings that got a roof that leaks, resulting in missing ceilings. Hard to sleep. Children going to schools dealing issues deep.
So I think society does make it more difficult for short men, but I don't think that it's impossible that they can find someone.
And expecting you to do your part. It ain't hard to see they trying to keep black in the back, just like Rosa Parks. Cops shooting blacks as if they get a token from God. School rob you with needed resources.
Is the weaker vessel and the more vulnerable.
Absolutely, 100%.
You don't look at the man like, oh, poor son, you were violated. No, you like, right.
And nobody.
They shift my stick like some cars. And when you're lonely in your darkest thoughts, come, I know it's hard, but God shines his light on all I play their part. And it's the start.
Put myself in a situation where I can only rely on a man. Like if I'm married and being a stay-at-home mom, I need to have a backup in case anything happens. I can't only rely on him. You know what I'm saying?
A flower will grow once you plant the seed inside your soul.
Poet, and the best part of me shows it. Here to speak the message of what is known, but not what it takes to expose it. Listen closer as I take you on a mental path. See divisions, the math, hoping we clash on lower levels, just like in the